I'm an actor, visual effects artist, animator, voiceover performer, and genuine Dark Lord of the Sith. Yeah, I'm one of the actors that played Vader. I played Vader for 12 years for film and television and games and commercials and print and everywhere the character was needed. 70 times over 12 years.
Wow.
My wife made me keep count after a while. People ask me,
Period.
like, they'll say, well, which one is your favorite Star Wars movie? And I say, what, you mean besides Empire Strikes Back? Yeah.
Another.
Is there?
That was when Star Wars went from being Star Wars to being Star Wars.
Yes.
That's when the whole mythology of the Jedi and the Sith really starts to kick in and everything. Yeah. Was on the Oprah Winfrey Show as Vader, the David Letterman Show
Nice.
as Vader, all kinds of things. Oprah was nice to us, though. She was very good to us.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
1, 2, 3, go.
Jennifer Hardy, har har.
Believe it or not,
Welcome to the Lawyer Dana Show.
the Lawyer Dana podcast.
Wow, we have a lot to talk about.
Then we're going to do it right after this.
Welcome to the Lawyer Dana Podcast.
My lovely co-host Jennifer Hardy Har and I are with Jeff Durazo of Order 66 Toys.
And Blue Milk Celebrity Management.
Blue Milk Celebrity Management.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you are getting into that.
Oh, yeah. I've
Excellent.
been doing it for how long? Years.
Yeah, years.
Awesome. I had a feeling that you were going to do that. So Jeff and I have known each other for at least a decade. At least since 2012 when we were neighbors. My law office and his very first toy store, which was about twice the size of this table. It was very
a
small.
closet.
And at one point I remember I go, well, hey, do you have one of these in the back? And he goes, this is the back. There is no back.
front, this
He
is the
had
back, and
he
this is
had a
everything,
bathroom that was, I don't know, this
Oh.
bathroom was like
It was elevated, right?
what
Remember
Yeah,
you
I
had
do
to
remember that.
Step up into it.
Yeah. It was basically like on the shelf here. That was where the bathroom was. And
Oh, you're
but
spoiling the whole mystique of
but you
Order
could spend
66 now.
you could spend hours in this toy store, and you walk in, and the funny thing is I spent enough time with him and saw enough other people come in, and I was like, they did the same thing that I do. Everybody does the same thing that they do. They walk in, they see something, go, I used to have one of these when I was a kid. And they start, their inner child, like, they go from like 40 to 7.
Yes.
instantly.
47 to 7, just regular 7. And it's just amazing experience.
Remember that building was where they shot Benji. Remember?
What?
I just found that out. What was that? I don't remember the address, but it was there on. Was that Virginia, or was that?
It was on
that
Virginia.
208 East Virginia.
Yeah.
Was that building, and that's where they shot the movie Benji.
Oh, I was going to
Those
say,
are
they didn't shoot
downtown
Benji.
McKinney. No, they didn't shoot
This is
Benji.
like the ending of Old Yeller or something like that.
So Benji was filmed there. What? Like,
It used to be a pharmacy, and during the film,
I remember that. I remember.
And then
Wait a minute, what kind of drugs was Benji on?
I don't know. You got a sequel, I think.
his wife left him. He
His
got
wife
really
left him,
depressed.
He went next door.
Yeah.
He lost all the puppies in custody.
Yeah.
Saw Data and
Yeah.
Daniel.
We
came
represented
over.
his wife.
I see. Yeah.
It really started going bad for him after that. He went into a deep depression. He lost all his dog biscuits.
I remember
Yeah.
when Daniel met you for the first time. He
Oh,
came
no.
home and was like freaking out about your store. Oh my gosh, this toy store. Oh my gosh.
It was a
And
closet.
Dana
I just
found
need a- I
this
just need a
the
few more dollars
coolest
and I'll go
store.
down and-
And I was just like,
It
A
was
few
a
hundred.
clo-
Oh no.
A few $100.
Oh, tell him. Tell him.
How much money did your husband drop with her?
there I have no idea.
Okay.
I
No,
can
no,
I
just,
think he was telling her back
Tell,
then.
Oh,
tell him.
okay.
Tell him about this. What that used to be.
this was a comic book.
Oh,
Are you
okay.
serious?
Daniel, when he was a little boy.
He had the first edition to X-Man.
That's worth, I don't know, $100K now.
Yeah, but back then sold it for
okay.
my engagement.
That's how much he
ring.
loves her.
Beautiful.
But again, my ring is not worth $100,000.
But
yeah.
your husband is.
But the investment,
Yes.
but the investment in you
So-
was well worth it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's,
Oh yeah.
yeah. See,
Oh, yeah.
That's the secret.
More precious than rubies.
Oh.
Yeah, that's you got a good guy then.
So tell him how he paid for law school.
Uh-oh.
Toys. I mean, this is the thing with him.
He sold
He had
Star
tra-
Wars toys
He
to
had-
pay to go to law school. That's why I know him. We
Yeah.
went together. When he was a
You were
kid.
the one that bought them, right?
No.
No.
I was broker than him in law school. I think I was the brokest law student at SMU Law School when I was there.
So he had a cousin who told him that, hey, your toys might be worth something one day. Well, it stuck in his mind. And so he would get toys and he wouldn't take them out of the box.
Was that Vu? Did Vu tell him that?
No,
Smart.
that was
Oh.
Swan.
What a smart guy not to
Yeah.
take it out of the box.
So he
there.
would play with the toys with them in the box. I'm not joking. And
He
his
started to
siblings,
get two of
Play
each.
with them in the
One to
box.
play with and one to preserve
Oh, yeah.
perfectly in the box.
Yeah.
and his siblings would make fun of him over it.
Bet they're not making fun of
Nope.
me now.
No,
They'll
they're
like
not.
say stuff
I
about it,
never
and
saw
I'm like,
Daniel's collection,
Yeah.
but I know some of the stuff he's bought recently.
Yeah. So speaking of
good thing he's
collections,
a lawyer.
so he's the droid you were looking for.
Yes.
Because he actually had the Death Star plans.
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
You had.
We did so well with those.
Oh, I know you did. But what he had was the blueprints that Lucasfilm Production
I forgot about that. That was
drew the Death Star and the actual production plans for when they were building it.
Right.
He had the real written out architectural Death Star plans.
Heritage. Heritage loved me.
Oh, I bet they.
Oh, yeah.
Heritage loved
And
me.
whoever has that thing has got to be worth 10 times
But
probably
you
what it
also
auctioned
had,
for
like,
too.
every
Sam Sweet didn't try to buy
single-
it off you?
Steve looked at them.
Oh, good.
We were at ICCC.
I should have bought it. I should have bought it. It should be framed right up there on the wall. I actually really regret doing
I'll
that.
I'll pull the other ones out.
I wasn't as well. This was what
That was 12 years ago. 10
about
years ago.
10
Yeah.
or 12 years
Oh,
ago.
yeah.
And I wasn't as financially able to spend money to put up on the wall.
Yeah.
That was this. So Josh got a phone call. He
Your
goes,
son,
Dad,
your son Josh.
my son Josh, who's now the owner of Order 66 Toys and, strangely enough, Rebel Scum. We just bought rebelscum.com,
Oh wow.
which is a story on its own.
Yeah.
See, we were looking
Largest
for
Star Wars
investors.
website everywhere.
Well, I want to talk about that story here today too.
So, so we get this phone call, and it was a very strange call. And the woman goes, "I have all of this old paper that has Star Wars stuff on it." And I'm like, "Okay." She goes, "I used to work for, was it Fangoria? No, it was
Starlog?
Starlog. So remember, Starlog came out with 3 issues, New Hope, Empire, and Jedi, where they reproduced the actual plans.
Right. The designs and everything like that. And
The guy that her husband was the guy that put those in the magazine. So all of these came out of Lucas Archives.
Sure.
And they were first generation off the blues,
Yeah.
off the blueprints. And he goes, I probably want like $50 a piece for these. And that would, and seriously, that was a lot of money for me.
I remember.
I mean, 12 years ago, that was good money.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because she had 80 of them.
Wow.
oh wow.
And I remember we met in a McDonald's. In
I remember
the
that.
worst part of Dallas you could possibly be in. And here I am.
And
here
she's wearing a trench coat. And she goes,
And that's-
you see a stormtrooper anywhere? And
And here I am with like I don't know, 5 or 10K in cash on me, and I'm like, I keep looking around.
I think I saw this scene in Rogue One.
With Hondo. That wasn't Hondo. You want a thermal detonator?
Yeah, exactly,
Or
yeah.
death sticks? Or whatever.
yeah.
But and it turned into that funded so much of what we did.
Oh yeah.
Had the original plans for R2. So I would have had Don.
Oh, yeah.
Don does at some
yeah.
point.
He had the original plans for the Millennium Falcon.
Nice.
Oh, those sold even back then for like 15,000. They sold for a lot, and that's so silly. You should have just said, Jeff, I'm going to put these in the safe next door.
Yeah.
You know, in the
I should have.
you know, and
As your attorney, I advise you to.
as my attorney, I advise you to keep these another 10 years,
Yes.
and then.
Oh, well,
But,
but they served a purpose. You know,
They did. It,
I-
it was really good, and look what you've done since then. I mean, it really was a blessing for you.
It was,
Mm-hmm.
and but we were smart enough to try to reinvest the money and do smart things.
So
Even Jen and Daniel helped us out there. Once
did you
or
buy one of
twice.
those?
No,
You bought- you got plenty of
no,
other
we
stuff,
put
I'm
a
sure.
we put a little deal together a while back that we finally got taken
Wait,
care
my
of. so.
husband never told me about that. How much did he spend, Jeff?
I think it was
By
Jennifer's
the,
money.
by the way, Jennifer's probably going
Jen's
to come
money.
and have a serious talk with Daniel after this podcast. You did what? No,
You're in trouble.
It's all worked
Daniel.
out.
You're
I
in
mean,
big trouble.
he's still got. So he just bought the original Megatron.
Oh wow.
You remember the Transformers?
Yes.
You into that? So he just bought a like very perfect in the box original
right,
Megatron. What did he spend for that?
Do you really want
10
to say?
grand, maybe?
No, he didn't spend that much.
4,
Yeah,
7,
he-
No,
6?
it was 6 or 8. I
I
think
think
bad.
it was like 6.
because
That's
all
not a
of-
bad deal.
Every time
that.
Daniel buys something,
He makes
or
money.
when
on
he
it.
look, no, it comes up on my feed.
Oh, so me and you need to become friends
Yeah, so-
on Facebook or
so-
something. You need to
so,
tell me.
so it comes up on Facebook that he goes to some auction or something, and it comes up. Should I purchase this or
So how big is your Star Wars collection now?
my collection?
Yes.
0.
Okay. So
But
how
at one point, you had every figure.
is it
Oh, I
all,
had everything.
But
Yeah.
is
I
it
had-
all? Is it all at the stores and your son owns that now, or tell us how that goes? Because you have giant warehouse. How much is in the warehouse is what I'm trying to ask you.
You need to see the story. So we
It's all there with the Ark of the Covenant and everything. You saw that at the end of the movie.
Yeah,
that's
that
the
was
warehouse.
that was your Star Wars toy collection in the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark, right?
this was. You know what's so funny? We have C. Andrew Nelson. We have Darth Vader himself.
I know.
We have Darth Vader himself sitting here,
So
and we're
yes.
talking about Jeff's toys and
I
Daniel's
know,
toys.
but he said we were going to do 5 hours. I'm holding it in suspense. So big. So
the big reveal.
I'm just trying to because
You just ruined his big reveal.
I
We
know,
haven't, we haven't seen each other in probably
I know
a couple years.
I know.
Since I was out in Colorado.
I love this guy, but let me tell you somebody who the whole world loves.
Oh gosh.
And shouldn't because he
And
plays a bad guy.
That would be Jennifer's husband, Daniel.
If he needs to be, you don't. Now he is Darth Vader in court. If you come up against him in a trial, because the thing about it is we have this philosophy, like we try to find a healthy solution in cases, and we propose really good things that are good for kids. But just like my trial that I did this week, it was one where there was no deal to be had, and so what do we have to do? Well, we had to go in and win, of course. Sure. And this is a guy. So let's see. You've won a lot of battles.
Yeah.
You've had a couple of run-ins with Obi-Wan.
Yeah. I have some problematic children.
Yes. And so and I think I have. So this is one of your kids' lightsabers. So we have
Yeah.
see Andrew Nelson, who has played Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And you have played so.
Since 1994, correct?
Yeah, I started playing Vader in 1994. I'm an actor, visual effects artist, animator, voiceover performer, and genuine Dark Lord of the Sith.
That is one of the kids right
Yep,
there.
That's Luke's.
That's Luke's. Yep.
From
Return of the
Return
Jedi.
of the Jedi.
Jedi,
Yeah,
the
because it's green.
Yes.
Because otherwise, he borrowed yours for a while.
Right.
He had your old one.
Yes.
And
Now he had a blue one too.
Yes,
for
that
a
was
while.
the one. That was
That-
the one.
the
yeah.
blue saber.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was the
That's
blue
the one
one.
that Obi-Wan gave him.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't recall, ever saying, "Hey, I wanted my son to have this." So, not
Better speak to Obi.
No, I'm one of the actors that played Vader. I played Vader for 12 years, for film and television and games and commercials and print and everywhere the character was needed. 70 times over 12 years.
Wow.
My wife made me keep count after a while.
So you're actually in my favorite movie of all time. Do you know which one it was? Can you guess?
It's not
What's
Howard.
it?
Howard the Duck.
No. It's
I am in
Oh,
Howard
he
the
is
Duck.
in
I'm in
Howard the Duck.
Are you
It's
really?
actually the first film I ever shot.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's one of the
I played a
punks at
rocker.
the end.
I'm
One of
a
the
rocker.
rockers.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah. Good luck trying to find me, but I'm in there. But no, Empire Strikes Back.
Of course.
Of course.
I think that's the greatest movie ever
Yeah,
made.
people ask me,
Period.
like they'll say, well, "Which one is your favorite Star Wars movie?" And I say, "What you mean besides Empire Strikes Back?"
Another.
Is
there
there a
another-
question about that at all?
No.
It was
That was when Star Wars went from being Star Wars to being Star Wars.
Yes.
Right.
And
Yes.
that's when the whole mythology of the Jedi and the Sith really starts to kick in and everything. Yeah. So I'm in the special edition of that. When George Lucas, back in '96, we shot additional footage to put into the original movies, to bring it up to how George had always envisioned the films to be. There were a lot of things he wanted to do, but for whatever reason couldn't at the time, back in the 70s and 80s. He couldn't do it, maybe because there wasn't the budget for it, or there wasn't the technology for it, or anything like that. So he went back and revisited those. They call it the special edition, and we shot just a bunch of stuff for that. And so I'm in there as Vader for the new stuff. And then all the other things too. I was on the Oprah Winfrey Show as Vader, the David Letterman Show
Nice.
as Vader, all kinds of things.
Did you get a car? Did you get a car?
Yeah, you get a car.
You get a lightsaber.
Yeah, you get a land speeder, and you get a land speeder, and you get a land speeder. No, I did not.
All right, open your boxes. Open your boxes. 1, 2, 3. You get a car. 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 You get a car.
Oprah was nice to us, though. She was very good to us.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. So
The costume.
Yes.
17 pieces.
17 pieces, yes.
Okay.
If you include
you
the
did your
lightsaber hanging.
research
Yes,
really
she did.
well.
So
Wow.
I can attest to this. So my husband played Darth Vader at our church.
Oh,
And so I had to help
is there a big
him.
call for that? Just like, we will now take altar call. It's like, yeah.
So we did at the movies, and so we had characters, and
no, nice.
we volunteer every year to be characters. And so of course, he picks the Star
So
Wars.
he turns to the dark
immediately-
side in church.
immediately,
Great.
and he has to have like the real lightsabers and everything.
oh, he did it right.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's great.
Oh yeah. But
That's
I
Daniel,
helped
though.
him put
Oh,
that
yes.
costume on,
Yeah.
and I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Like
For-
real
How long
life.
does it take
For
you?
the actual costume, it takes about 40, 45 minutes.
I was going to
get
guess
into
a
the
half
costume.
hour, but yeah,
Yeah.
45 just into the
because
costume.
you want to make sure everything looks right. You
Oh,
want
yeah.
to make sure everything's in the right place.
Oh, yeah.
Like you said, it's 17 pieces. If you include the lightsaber hanging on the belt, it's 17 pieces. You put it on very, very slowly because you want to make sure everything looks perfect in the right place. There's an undercloak that has to have the lines going straight up and down. The chest box has to be in the right spot, and the belt has to be in the right spot. And you can't have any fingerprints on the helmet or anything like that. And
Wow.
so about 40, 45 minutes to get into the costume. At the end of the day, about 5 minutes to get out because you don't care what it looks like at that point. Just turn it inside out if you have to. Get me
Oh,
out of here. It's
yeah.
hot. It's blistering hot inside that
Oh,
costume.
wow.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. It's crazy as you're putting these things on, and you put the first piece on, and on the inside you see Dave Prowse.
Yeah, it says D. Prowse on the inside.
You see Prowse on there.
First time I tried on the costume.
So you fit in the same costume. How tall are you?
I'm 6'5".
That's what I
Prowse
thought.
was 6'7", but I'm 6'5". In the costume itself, I'm actually 7'1".
What?
Wow.
But it's not the boots. Everybody thinks it's the boots.
the
The boots
helmet.
only add about an inch. The helmet sticks way up high. Oh. But you don't really realize that when you're looking at it. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And the amazing thing about the costumes, that for the main costume characters like Vader, 3PO, Chewbacca, R2, they look just as impressive in person as they do
bet.
on camera, which is not usually the case. When you make stuff for film and television, props, costumes, sets, and things like that, they usually only made to look good on camera, and you see them in person, they don't look anywhere near as impressive. But those definitely do.
Can
Wow.
you imagine picking that up and just seeing the name on the inside?
That's
Oh, yeah.
cool.
It was
And
like
knowing-
fanboy
knowing-
me just went like.
And knowing you're the guy that's going to be wearing
What was
that.
it like when you found out that you were cast?
That was an interesting process. I was working already at LucasArts.
Tell me how you were chosen.
Yeah, I was working at LucasArts.
They just walk by and go, you're kind of tall.
It was sort of
pretty
like
close.
that. Yeah.
It's pretty close.
I joke and I tell people I was at the right place at the right time at the right height.
Proximity effect. There you go.
No, I was working
right
at LucasArts. I was a visual effects supervisor and senior artist there. Worked at LucasArts for about 6 years, helping design and create a lot of Star Wars games and other games as well. And I'm sitting at my desk one day doing my job, minding my own business, and my phone rings. And it's the head of public relations, who was a woman who was upstairs from me. And she doesn't start off the conversation with any pleasantries, nothing like, hello, how you doing? How's it going, Andrew? No, she just starts off with, hey, Andrew, how tall are you? And I go, I'm 6'5". Why do you ask? Well, she was like 5'1". I thought she wanted me to come upstairs and get something down off a shelf. And I said, well, they used to keep a lot of their publicity material and stuff like that up on these shelves there. So it's like, can you get that down for me? No. So that's what I thought it was. Then she goes, do you have any acting experience? Okay. And when you're talking to somebody on the phone, you can't hear a smile, but you can. You can't see a smile on them,
Right.
but you can almost hear a smile in their voice. And that's what I'm picking up on.
It's all starting to come together in Andrew's head.
At that
yeah.
moment,
yeah. Oh yeah, the wheels are spinning.
Did you have
at
that
this
moment
point.
moment from like in Fight Club where Ed Norton realizes he's Tyler Durden?
Yeah, I'm having that moment.
Right.
Yeah.
The
The
next,
world
the-
zooms in and out.
now the next question.
But yeah.
So did you tell her you played in Howard the Duck?
No, I didn't get that. But,
Oh, that would have got the job.
No, but I basically.
I can act, whether I've acted ever in my life.
No, I at that point I'd had like, I don't know, 20, 21, 22 years of theater and film and television experience as an actor. And so I let her know that. And then she hits me with this. She goes, "Can you breathe for me?" Okay. So, like I
It's
said,
all-
the wheels have been
it's all
spinning in my
coming
head.
together.
Yeah.
You manually do that? I thought there was a sound effect that.
There is, but she asked that to me just being, and she's starting to laugh at
she's
this
joking
point.
with you now.
But I'm putting the wheels, the wheels are spinning in my head. I'm putting the pieces together. I'm thinking, okay, all right, how tall are you? Do you have any acting experience? It's a Lucas company. Can you breathe for me? And I leaned into my phone and I went, and I said, so what's going on here?
That's good.
Yeah, thank
I think
you.
that's the best I've ever heard anybody do that.
It's had practice.
Yeah. So
I don't think you needed the sound effect.
So I said to her, okay, so what's going on? And they were looking for somebody to play Vader for a charity event for Big Brothers Big Sisters of America at the Marin
Close
County,
enough.
at the Marin County Fair
Good
in
audition.
Marin County,
Gets
California. And the night before the fair opened, and so the kids could have their photo taken with Darth Vader. So I went up to Skywalker Ranch, went up to the archives building, which is an amazing place.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Skywalker Ranch is just amazing to begin with. It's just beautiful, very peaceful, nice. It is an actual working ranch. There's cows, there's
Wow, nice.
goats, there are cats that hang out there in the library and everything. But so I go up there to the archives building, which looks like a big barn, big robin's egg blue barn. Inside, it's like this perfectly climate-controlled building to keep everything from every Lucas production is there. I mean,
Wow.
all the Star Wars costumes and props and miniatures and things, all the stuff from the Indiana Jones movies.
Wow.
Michael Jackson's Captain EO costume is there because
Oh,
George
wow.
produced that.
Crazy
Yeah,
stuff.
I forgot he produced that.
The
yeah.
Howard the Duck costume is there.
Oh, wow.
They actually used to keep it inside the Ark of the
Did they-
Covenant.
Really?
Yes, yeah. Don't open it. Yes, but so I go up to the archives building. Well, actually, I have to back it up here. Okay, so I have to. This part of the story is even funnier. So, the first thing they told me to do was they told me to call a guy named Don Bees, who Don at the time he was a model builder at Industrial Light and Magic, but he was also the archivist up at the ranch at the archives building.
I've had Don out to the store
Yeah.
too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So
Don's
Bring him on the podcast.
Oh yeah, Don's
That'd be a great guy to have on.
He
well,
would have
did,
great stories.
He
for you.
did something else that
Yeah.
Andrew's going to tell you what he actually did.
Okay,
So,
cool.
so anyway, so they told me to call Don. So I call him at the and he's up at the ranch. He says, "Yeah, I'm up at the ranch this week." So no, he said, "I'm down at ILM this week. So why don't you come on over to ILM?" And I'm thinking, cool, I get to see ILM because I was working across a parking lot at LucasArts at the time. So I'm thinking it's going to be like high security. Hey, you can't come in here; it's restricted. That kind of thing. And so I'm walking up to the building. And I'm literally having to flag people down to try to find Don.
He goes,
Yeah.
the door's open.
Yes. Yeah. But no, I'm walking up to the building, and there's like this big roll-up door because like you have for warehouses and things like that. And then there's also just a regular door open there. And as I'm walking up to the building, I see down the regular doorway, I can see the Vader costume in this plexiglass case, and I'm going, oh my gosh, it's huge. I hope I can fit into this thing. It's huge. But I'm walking up and I'm looking for Don, and like nobody's paying attention to me at all. I'm thinking that some security guard's going to say you can't come in here. Sorry, but I'm going. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm looking for Don. Huh? Who? Don Bees. Yeah. Okay. So I'm wandering around. And I'm seeing all these props, like the prop head they had for the dragon and Dragonheart, and the picture, the painting of Vigo from Ghostbusters 2, and all this stuff like all these things there.
That's iconic stuff.
So I'm wandering around there, and I find Don, and Don introduces himself and says, "Hey, nice to meet you. How you doing? You're not claustrophobic, are you?"
Oh, God.
It's like, It's weird that somebody actually asks that. It's like, okay, no, I'm not claustrophobic.
Well, Don he was what, chief archivist or something.
Yeah, he was the archivist,
And then
but
in
he was,
charge of all-
but he's at this point he's working as a model builder this week at ILM.
Okay.
So I'm walking around the model shop at ILM, and so he says, "You're not claustrophobic, right?" And I said, "No, I don't. No, I'm not claustrophobic." So then he goes and introduces me to another artist, guy named Nelson Hall. And Nelson comes up to me and goes, "Hey, how's it going? Nice to meet you." And we're talking. He goes, "Hey, you're not claustrophobic, are you?" And I go, "No, I don't think I'm claustrophobic." And then we're going around the model shop again, and we run into Grant Imahara, who a lot of people know from MythBusters.
Oh, yeah,
unfortunately
Grant.
Unfortunately passed away a few years ago, but great guy, wonderful guy. So Grant comes up to me, "Hey, good to meet you. You're not claustrophobic, are you?" And I go, at this point, I don't know, maybe I am. So it was a setup. It was a big, they're just hazing me because they're all talking like it's a done deal. I'm going to fit into this costume. So Don gives me the nickel tour of the model shop. I'm looking at all this stuff, and they were working on, I think it was Star Trek Generations at that time. So they had the Enterprise there, and they were going to be doing the scene where they were crashing the saucer section, and they built this whole miniature landscape out and back and stuff. So I'm looking at all this stuff, and we end up in the room that I had seen as I was walking towards the building, and here I'm standing in front of the big Vader in this plexiglass case, and like I said, they're all talking like it's a done deal, and I'm looking at this thing, and I'm going, I'm not going to fit in that, I'm not going to fit in that. And then Don says to me, "Oh, this is one we made for Planet Hollywood. It's a bit beefier than the real thing." And I'm thinking, okay. So then the next week, I go up to Skywalker Ranch to the archives building to try on the costume. And they break it out, and like Jeff said, I'm looking at these pieces. It's leather and fiberglass, and then the cape and the undercloak are wool. So it's nice, big, heavy, hot
Wool?
thing. Yeah, wool, full circle wool cape.
Why does it have to be wool?
Because that's what's going to last. That's what's
I
going
guess.
to,
Yeah.
through all the takes.
guess.
And
I
everything.
guess absorb sweat or
Actually, and it won't.
Yeah.
And it won't
Well,
mildew.
well,
I mean,
yeah,
wool is it's
well, the
a
cape-
good material for
yeah,
that,
the-
but it just seems warm.
Yeah, it is. It's very
And claustrophobic.
Very warm. Yes.
And claustrophobic.
So I start putting on the costume, and I see it says right in there with black Sharpie. It says D. Prowse,
Oh,
and
my
D. Prayer
gosh.
Prowse, and I'm thinking, this is like fanboy's
This
dream.
is it.
Well, okay, I'm going to jump back even further now.
So for all these years, do they just have one Vader costume?
No, there's many. There's
Okay,
many.
okay.
Yeah, but so jump back even further, going back to 1977. I'm 15 years old, actually just like 6 days shy of my 15th birthday, and I'm standing in line with my friends to see the original Star Wars. We went
Wow.
to this theater in San Francisco.
Why did you want to see it? What was the promo like?
It was the promo. It was the trailer. It was the trailer that was done. That
The
somewhere in
trailer
space,
hooked everybody.
this may all be happening
I
right
remember
now.
seeing that
Yeah,
that
Malachi
trailer.
Throne was the guy that did the voice for it. Actually,
Oh,
met him years
wow.
later. Yeah, wonderful character actor.
Malachi
He was
was-
false face on
Yes.
Batman. Yes,
Yes,
Uh-huh.
in the 66
and he was
Batman.
in
That's
Mission
right.
Impossible. He was in everything at that time.
That's-
wonderful.
Oh,
guy.
yeah, I remember his
Yes.
voice from
Yeah.
Mission Impossible, right?
But it was this trailer that I remember seeing. My dad and I had gone to the movies, and we saw this trailer. And I thought, that's cool. I've never seen anything like that before. And I almost bought a set of lobby cards from it, which I had. I got them years later, but paid through the nose for them then. But so my friends and I are there to see the film, and of course it's only 3 weeks in, but the buzz is huge, and so had to stand in line for 2 hours
wow.
just to get a ticket.
3 weeks in.
3 weeks in, and the movie's just gone crazy.
Wow.
All over the country. So I'm in San Francisco at this theater in San Francisco, and so we stood in line for 2 hours to get a ticket, and then another 2 hours to get into the theater.
Wow.
And I don't know how it happened. I'm going to say divine intervention, but I think I got the very best seat in the whole theater.
Just happened like
Yeah.
center kind
Yeah.
of. Yeah.
And so as that opening shot, and again, we don't know anything other than what we saw in the trailer, and that opening shot where that Rebel blockade runner flies right over your head, followed by that massive Star Destroyer, I looked up at the screen and I thought, oh my gosh, I want to do that for a living. Because at that point,
Wish granted. That's awesome.
yes. Well, the thing is, at that point, I had been wanting to become. Besides being an actor, I always do lots of different things because nobody tells me I can't. So
See?
yeah.
See?
That's
she
the
tells-
answer.
sometimes tells me I do too much.
No, I always.
she knows now.
Yeah, but I wanted to be a stop motion animator. I wanted to be the next Ray Harryhausen, and I actually had met
Nice.
Ray,
Right, that's what I was
and he had inspired me to keep going with that. But I wanted to be a stop motion animator. I wanted to do the stuff like you saw in Jason and the Argonauts and Seventh Voyage of Sinbad and the original Clash of the Titans and things like that. But then I saw that opening shot in Star Wars, and I thought, ooh, I want to do that for a living. Well, the problem was there was nowhere to go to learn how to do that for a living because the guys that were doing that for a living were making that up as they went along. This was all brand new territory.
Yeah.
Guys like John Dykstra and Dennis Muren and Richard Edlund, these wonderful, now Oscar-winning visual effects artists, did that. But then, flash forward years later, I end up being a Star Wars visual effects artist at Industrial Light and Magic. But one of the times, because, 15 years old, summer of 77, we saw the movie over and over and over again. And so we and my friends and I, we'd try to get there early so we could be first in line. Ooh, first in line, because we had no jobs, we had no girlfriends, we had nothing. So we're standing in line one day, waiting for because if the film started playing at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we'd get there at 10 o'clock in the morning. This so we could be first. This is how sad we were. But we're standing around killing time, and I made this wild prediction. I said to my friends, one of these days I'm going to play Darth Vader.
You're kidding.
No, that's what they said.
I believe it.
Yeah,
I actually believe that.
They go, "Oh, you're crazy." And I said, "No, they'll do something else, and they won't have the original actors or something like that. And I'm going to play Darth Vader." And they go, "No."
How tall were you at the time?
And I was taller than either of them. But and I told them that, but I don't know. I wasn't quite 6'5" then, but and then I also made the wild prediction one other time when we were standing in line. I remember this, that I said one day I'm going to play Luke Skywalker, because I had kind of the same kind of hair and everything like that, and I ended up doing both because I was Luke's voice for a number of LucasArts games when Mark Hamill wasn't available.
Nice.
So I'm the first actor to
cool.
officially portray both Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker.
Awesome.
I am my own father, or my own son. That sounds like a bad custody case, doesn't it? Yeah.
You're the father and the son.
Yeah. So
And you control the spirit.
right. So yeah.
How do you separate the?
Yeah. So I was a Star Wars fanboy from right away. So seeing Dave Prowse's name in this costume I'm about to put on was amazing to me, and I'm trying to keep it together.
Have you met him?
I met him once. Back in '78, he came to, because I live in the San Francisco Bay Area, and he came to a collectible shop in Berkeley and did a signing there. The line was amazing. It was just huge. It was blocks long, and then down the corner and around the corner, and more. And it's just, and he was there all day.
Good for Dave.
Yeah, and he was there all day, and when his hand would get tired from doing all the signing and everything like that, he'd get up and he'd walk the line and shake hands with people and chat with people.
That's cool.
And I was
That's
like
nice.
just about the last kid in line to get his autograph, and
Wow.
I still have it. But that was
Nice.
the only time I ever crossed paths with him.
Nice.
But I remember though putting on that costume that first time, and I realized then why they said, "Are you claustrophobic?"
Really?
It was a joke for them, but you put it on, and it is a little disorienting because the lenses are curved on the mask, and I probably needed glasses then. I have them now, but I probably needed them then, and so I put it on, and everything's kind of like I'm in a fishbowl here for a moment. But it was.
I don't care how hard that is. I would have done it. I don't care if I was claustrophobic
So
or whatever.
we did that one event, and with the for Big Brothers Big Sisters of America, and it was amazing. I accidentally smacked a kid in the head.
Oh no.
Because your vision is really restricted in that. You basically can see what's directly in front of you through the lenses of the mask, or you can see your feet through the chin. There's like a little spot there. You kind of strain your eyes down. Everything else is a blind spot.
Wow.
And this kid was, and I'm doing all this stuff I'd studied.
The kid became Kylo, by the way.
Yes. Oh, great. Angst, teen angst.
You hit me in my head.
That's how to get him to the dark side. But so I'm doing all the sort of the gestures like that Vader would do, and I go like this, and I smack a kid right in the head, and I'm thinking, oh gosh, that's it, I'm dead.
And they just probably loved
and
it.
the kid's like, I just got hit by Vader. Cool. So we did this one event, and I thought, that's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. That's never going to happen again. I just thank God I had a chance to do it. But then they called me back for something else, and then I ended up, playing Vader for 12 years. So
And now you're on greeting cards.
I'm on
and
I'm
postage
greeting,
stamps
and everything, all kinds of toy packaging, and
That's cool.
yeah,
like
so-
all of the 90 the orange pack and the green pack 95s that we'd have up in the store.
Yep.
That was all.
So
All Andrew.
Do they call you back in the movies? Like, for example, in the scene in Rogue One.
Oh no, that's Daniel Napros in that amazing scene at the ending there.
Are you a little jealous about that one?
Well, I saw it. I saw it at Industrial Light and Magic. I sat in the screen there and
Nice.
watched it, but I wasn't involved with it. But it was the great thing about that was it's like because it takes place before New Hope.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there and you're watching that scene with Vader, which is a great scene. Absolutely great scene.
Oh, amazing.
And you're thinking, oh my gosh, I hope they make it. I hope they make it. We know they make it.
I know, right?
We know-
But
that's
you're
how-
still.
But that's how
you're
good that scene
I
is.
know, right? And
Yeah.
you're still in suspense. It's like,
Yeah.
and the first time it crosses your mind of, are they about to retcon this?
Yeah.
But how? How could they? They would
Right.
do the.
No.
Have you seen? Do you know He She? How it should have ended?
Oh,
the
yes, yes,
cartoons?
those are great.
The one. Have you seen the one about that? Where
Yes.
he just goes with the force. He just grabs the disc out of the guy's hand and then
It walks away. Yeah. I know. I know. Those are so
classic.
You saw Rogue One with us, I think, right?
Oh, I'm sure.
We saw it at one
Because-
of our theater screenings.
Daniel
What came
was
out first,
with you.
Rogue One or Solo?
Rogue One.
Oh, Rogue One.
Rogue One. Yeah, because I think
Oh,
you
because-
did the premiere of Rogue One and we watched it with you, and then
think-
we did Solo. That's the shirt I got on.
Yeah,
This is your premiere
I-
shirt. I wore it for you today.
I actually think the law office sponsored that, right?
We did. We sponsored Solo.
Oh no, I
We
mean,
may have-
yeah,
actually,
you
we
sponsored the
probably sponsored
posters
you.
and everything
Yeah,
for
yeah.
that we did at the event.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah. But I'm all over the Star Wars universe. I don't want anybody to think I've got a big head or anything like that because it's like I am.
No, but
I
you
am
do
an
fill the
ordinary
helmet.
Yes. No, I am so very fortunate, so very blessed to be able to do what I do for a living that, I don't take any of it for granted.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I tell people I'm an ordinary guy who gets to do extraordinary things.
Nice.
And so that's why I do stuff for charity. That's why I
said it
teach
was-
and everything like that. Yeah.
you said it was a once in a lifetime opportunity that came 70 times.
Exactly. That's how I looked at it. You have to look at it that way.
That's
You can't
incredible.
ever look at I always say, I
That's
don't
kinda-
count on there being a next time, and I don't count against it because you just don't know.
Yep.
And you never know where life is going to take you. It's like I hate it when I hear people say, "Oh, I could never do that." I can't. No, you can't because you have that attitude.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you say you can or you say you can't, you're
Yeah.
going to be correct.
Or
Exactly.
Do or do not.
You do it or not, there is no try. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. But,
Exactly.
yeah. So,
So
I'll
after you
lead you
played
along,
it,
too.
did you call your friends up and say, "Hey, guess what?"
yeah, of course. I mean, you call a bunch of them. Unfortunately, well, one of them that had been in line with me at that time, he ended up knowing about it. But the other guy we'd lost contact with. But yeah, and so that. Well, it's even funnier. Something even before that is back in the '80s. I had learned where Skywalker Ranch was. I can give you the address, and you can't get in there. But it's like, so my dad and I took a drive up. It's off of Lucas Valley Road, which is not named after George. It was Lucas Valley before he was even born, I think. But up in Marin County in California, there's Lucas Valley Road. Skywalker Ranch is on there. So my dad and I took a big drive up there to take a look and see if we could find it, just for fun. And we found one gate. We figured, okay, it's got to be this one because it's a little more impressive. And all the other gates, you could see the property, you could see the house or whatever there. This one, you can't see anything. Just other. It's like, is that like a kiosk, a toll booth? What is that over there? So we drove up, and it was, and figured, okay, it's got to be this one. So flash forward, to like 1993 when I got hired at LucasArts, and my boss, she had hired me and hired another guy there, and we actually started off. I started off in customer support at LucasArts. It was, finding a way in. And it's like, again, it's like you want to do something for a living, you have to have that can-do
Proximity
attitude,
effect.
and you got
Exactly.
you got to find a way
Start
in.
wherever it is that you can start.
If it's an internship or whatever, or start in the mailroom or something.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine got into visual effects by becoming a security guard at ILM.
Really?
And he could go, and I was already working there at ILM as an artist, but he could go places in the company I couldn't go because he was
Oh, wow.
security. And he'd go around and say, "Hey, show me what you're working on." And that's how he learned. And now he runs his own visual effects company. But
Wow.
so there were two of us that were hired. Then I got hired into customer support. So basically, if you bought a game at LucasArts, LucasArts game, and you got it home and you opened it up and you put it in your computer and you tried to play it and it wouldn't run. You got all angry and you opened up the manual and you found that 800 number at the back of the manual and you called it. I was the guy that answered the phone. So I did that for about a year, and then submitted my portfolio to the art director. And she took a look at it and said, "No, this is basically junior level stuff." And I'm thinking, "Gosh, stick the knife in and twist it." But she had seen that I had some video background. I had worked at a TV station, and that was intriguing to her because she was designing a game that was going to use a lot of video in it. And there were only 2 guys in the company that knew anything about video. One was tied up on a project, and the other one was on sabbatical. So she brought me into the art department at the very bottom of the ladder, a position called art technician, which
Did they make up that title just for you?
might have. I don't know. But so basically, I wasn't even creating art. At that time, Windows could only handle 256 colors. In the early 90s. So these artists were doing stuff in millions of colors. So I would have to take what they did, drop the palette down to 256, actually less than that, because you couldn't touch the 32 Windows interface colors or everything goes wonky on the screen. So you had to leave those alone. But I had to drop the palette down and make it look good. So the first game that I worked on was a game called Mortimer and the Riddles of the Medallion, which you've never heard of. You've never heard of it. Nobody's ever heard of it. It didn't sell well. It was a great game about a flying snail. But it was LucasArts' one and only edutainment game. And it used the Rebel Assault engine to fly around. So it's a flying snail that is releasing these animals that have been frozen in time, and then you get to interview them and learn something about them. So when I started on that game, I was art technician. By the time the game shipped, I was lead effects animator.
Wow.
And then became a visual effects supervisor and senior artist soon after that. But
How long was that process?
that game was in development for about a year and a half, maybe.
So it only took you a year and a half to make all that progress.
Yeah.
I mean, totally. Of course, start at the bottom. If you can make progress like that, that's amazing.
But so when I got hired and this other guy got hired, we were brought up to see. I'm bringing it back. I'm remembering what I was saying. So our boss brought us up to Skywalker Ranch for lunch.
Nice.
And we roll up to the gate, and I realize it's the same gate that years and years ago my father and I had
This
gone to.
gate, that was the gate.
Dad. So I called him up afterwards. I'm all cool when I'm at the ranch, but after I get home and it's like, Dad, guess what? We were right. What are you talking about?
Was the 60 stormtroopers out front? Yeah. It
was kind of a giveaway. Yeah.
It was kind of a giveaway.
Well, none of this stuff was. I mean, like at that time, now everybody knows where like Industrial Light and Magic is because they know it's at the Presidio in San Francisco, and it's got the Yoda fountain out in front and everything like that. But back in the day, you didn't know. It was in like the in Marin County in central San Rafael, and it was a bunch of old buildings that George had rented out or had bought, and sometimes he would just leave the old company name on there. So it would say Kerner Optical Company, where they would make glasses and things like that. He left it on there, and part of it was like the some government legal office or something like that, and welfare office or something, and so you wouldn't know that any of this was Lucas stuff unless ILM was like bringing something from like one building across the street to another. You'd see here's like some big piece of props or something like that. It was cool, but you wouldn't know. So I got home and told my dad, yeah, we were right.
So I've got a question.
Okay,
And
I've got an answer. Let's see if
I already know the answer, but it's interesting.
Okay,
what is the man who plays Darth Vader's favorite movie?
My favorite
And
movie.
this
is the
will
truth.
shock you. This is
my favorite movie of all time is Galaxy Quest.
Galaxy Quest.
Well, I worked on Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver, Alan Rickman, Tony
I know what movie
Shalhoub,
that
Sam
is.
Rockwell.
You know what it is,
I
right?
think I don't recall ever seeing. I think I've seen parts of that, but I don't know
it's
that
about
I've even seen
it's about a group of actors that have been on a TV show like Star Trek, and
a
now
spoof.
it's a spoof there, but it's done so well with so much heart, and so now all they've got is that they do conventions. And they do store openings and things like that and little signings.
Is that your life now?
No, wait, it gets better. The story gets better.
So what happened is that a group of aliens have seen the broadcasts that have drifted through space. They think it's real, and they now have come to Earth to recruit the crew of the ship to help them fight their battle. So they bring a bunch of actors out to space to help them fight this battle, and they don't know that they're actors. They have no
Thunder
concept
in space.
Well, Tim Allen is the Shatner.
Yeah, he's the Shatner character. Yeah,
he's the Shatner.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
I guess Sigourney's number 2 or
yes. Yeah, it should be kind of like Uhura. It should be like the
Uhura.
Uhura character because she's the communications officer talking to the computer all the time.
It's my granddaughters, Josh's daughters. That's like their favorite film.
Yeah,
Really?
So
it's my favorite film.
and
too,
we'll
yeah.
I'm gonna have to watch Galaxy Quest.
and
now.
we'll go places. And it's funny. I'll do a show someplace, or we'll have actors out, and I always send Andrew a picture, but in the picture, in the background, a TV will be playing with Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a joke.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
It's like, wow,
Well,
when did you have
And
fun out
I
here?
worked on the effects of Galaxy Quest when I was at Industrial Light and Magic.
Oh, cool.
And because I was at LucasArts first, and then did that for about 6 years, and then there was an opening at ILM to work on Phantom Menace, and so I went over to that. The great thing was, and this is something you always want to hear in a job interview, is I was coming into I was essentially like a visual effects supervisor at LucasArts, but I was coming in as like basically a compositor and that at ILM. And this was for a different department. It was called rotoscoping, which is the job of a rotoscoper is twofold. Basically, you are creating mats by hand. So it's not like blue screen or green screen where it's a process where the computer looks at that background color, removes it, and gives you a mat around it. We call it an alpha channel. Sometimes you have to do it by hand. So if it's something that was shot on location, let's say you've got a shot where you've got something that was shot on location, you've got like Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan in a scene with Jar Jar, and Jar Jar has to walk in front of Obi-Wan but behind Qui-Gon Jinn. There's no green screen to kind of, separate them. So you've got to go through and whoever's in the foreground, you have to trace their outline every single frame to isolate them from that. The other job of the rotoscoper is to do digital paint, to paint out things that don't need to be in a shot or shouldn't be in a shot, or to paint things in that need to be there. So sometimes it's tracking markers, sometimes it's like safety tethers and things like that, or flying rig harnesses, or sometimes it's whole actors you're removing from shots because it's like, well, we don't want them in there. So that was the department I was trying to get a job in, and the people that were interviewing me, they said, well, basically you're overqualified, but we'd like to offer you the job. And I was like, oh, I'd love hearing that. But I was immediately recruited into matte painting, which is creating the backgrounds that go into. I'd never done a matte painting in my life. I don't even know to this day why I got recruited into matte painting.
Okay.
But yeah.
How about the story of your wife?
With
the camera.
Oh yeah, I'm leading up to that.
So
It's like
okay.
So I was working on the ground battle on Phantom Menace, and I will get back to Galaxy Quest. But I was working on the ground battle on Phantom Menace,
The one with the
Gungans
Gungans.
and the battle droids, and all of that, all those backgrounds were all created. That's not real. I mean, basically, it's the farm country north of Marin County in a little town area called Petaluma up there. Visual effects supervisor Dennis Murin went up there with a 35 millimeter still camera loaded with motion picture film stock, and he shot hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of photos of these rolling green hills. And digitized that. We brought it, and I would bring it into Photoshop. So you'd take foreground grass from one photo, and midground grass from another photo, and background grass from another photo, and each hill would be from a different photograph. And you add some atmospheric haze to it to make it look like it's further away, like it's a bigger vista. And then you paint out the cows, and you paint out the telephone poles, and you paint out the tire tracks, make that all go away, make it look absolutely pristine and perfect. And then you mess it all up with a bunch of Gungan footprints and scorch marks and battle damage and that sort of thing. But George was very insistent, that was Mr. Lucas, George was very insistent on having beautiful puffy white clouds on the planet of Naboo all the time. We thought, okay, we've got a stock library of cloud photos, we'll be fine. We burned through that so fast that we were trying to repurpose the same clouds, and it's starting to look like that. Here we are, 4 hours into the battle, and here's the same clouds hanging over the battlefield. I guess there's no wind on Naboo. So, so I mentioned this to my wife, Veronica Loud, who is a wonderful photographer. And
This is before you were married to her.
No, this is after we were married.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
She's, that's her professional. She still uses
Okay.
her maiden name as her
gotcha.
professional name.
Okay.
Because she's also an actress and voiceover artist and everything as well. And so I mentioned this to her, and this is a total rock star move. While she's driving down the street in San Francisco,
She's just holding a car, camera out
yes,
the window.
she sees it had rained the night before. She sees the perfect, puffy, beautiful Naboo white clouds in the sky. She grabs a camera, leans out the car window, snaps these amazing photos. Lucasfilm paid her for them, and that's how we finished the ground battle.
Wow.
We could not have
crazy
finished
story,
the film without
right?
her. Yeah.
That is a great
Yes.
story.
Cool.
So I started on that, and then I did Galaxy Quest after that. And the interesting thing about working in visual effects is that you can work for, 6 months to a year or more on a project, and you don't know if the movie you're working on is any good until it comes out in theaters. Because when you're working on it, you see everything out of sequence, without sound. You see your portion of the movie, and that's it. Unless you're the visual effects supervisor or something, you're seeing everything. But when we were working on Galaxy Quest, the studio sent us a rough cut of the movie. And that just never, ever happens. So we all crammed into one of the screening rooms at ILM. We sat down to watch it, and we were like, oh my gosh, this is great. And even in rough cut form, we were just all jazzed to get it finished. So I have that part of working on it that was so important to me, but I just love the movie. It just has so much heart to it. And it's one of those films where it's like, the more you watch it, the more you notice things in it. During the pandemic, a bunch of us that had worked on the film got together on Zoom and watched the movie together again on Zoom,
that's cool.
and talking about it and extend. Don was there, Don Bees was there working, and
Don's a sweetheart.
Yeah, and we're going back and forth and talking about different things, and it's like we're all still finding stuff in this movie we never even noticed. So
Don had a similar incident
Yes.
that Andrew had.
Yeah.
They were looking for somebody to go into Boba Fett's costume.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
So they needed, for the special editions, they needed somebody Don's proportions.
Yes.
And he was right there
because he was
right there.
coordinating all of the shoots for the because he was the archivist, so he was helping bring all this stuff out from the ranch that they needed, and helping build some of the props and miniatures and the sets and everything. And we shot all this stuff for the special edition at ILM on the blue screen stages.
So they said, they started the conversation. Are you claustrophobic?
Yeah.
And then they said,
I wish I had been there to do that to Don. I wish I had been
and
there.
then they said, breathe into the mic.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah. So Don stepped in for the scenes in Jabba's palace. That's
Yeah.
him. Yeah.
That was him.
And
Okay.
then in episode in New Hope, it's Mark Austin. So yeah.
So-
Another ILM guy. Yeah.
So I actually had Don out at the store, and then I found out that he's like, being one of the archivists, he's the guy that takes care of all the R2 units.
Yes. He's the one that got them all back into shape again,
Like-
so
Oh, wow.
that they could be used in Phantom Menace and the prequels.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah.
How many of them are there?
A bevy of them.
An
I'd-
army of R2s.
Yeah, he and Granda Mahara and help rebuild them, get them all.
It's
running
funny,
again.
out at the store, well, we used to have a life-size R2, a working one.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And when Don came out, we had that, and we have an R5, R5D4,
Yeah.
that we still have at the store. And Don came out, and he's like, let me tweak this for you. He's like, that looks a little askew there. That belt should be tightened.
Yes. No,
And
he
it's
was,
like, what are you going to tell Don Bees not to play with your
Yeah, I know.
R2?
Yeah.
Please do.
Yeah.
By all
No,
means.
but he was my original.
that's the guy.
Yeah, he was my original Vader wrangler.
Nice.
Yeah.
But absolute sweetheart.
Yeah. But you got to see Galaxy Quest. You got to see
Oh,
Galaxy
yeah.
Quest. It's,
Oh,
I've often told people that if the last known copy of Galaxy Quest and the last known copy of Citizen Kane are in a burning building, and I can only have time to save one, well, bye-bye Rosebud. I'm keeping Galaxy Quest.
Rosebud is gone.
Yeah.
So
I didn't find Citizen Kane to be all that.
The
moving.
thing about Citizen Kane
Although I wasn't
is
paying very good
we're-
attention when I watched
We're
it.
now so jaded that so much of the stuff that we take
yeah.
as sort of just standard Hollywood filmmaking was done for the very first time on that.
Yeah.
Tracking moving shots, dolly shots, that had never been done before. That kind of lighting, there's a lot of effects in it that a lot of people don't realize, matte paintings and things like that. But all the stuff that he was doing in there, and that whole kind of storytelling, we take it for granted now. It's like, look at what George Lucas did with American Graffiti. That whole style of having multiple storylines going on and the rapid editing and things like that, and the use of music and things. We take that as commonplace. It's like a couple decades later, and it's like, or a decade later, it's like, that's an MTV music video. But back then, that was revolutionary. So, yeah. But if you get it all built up and you think, oh, Citizen Kane, it's, well, that's a good story, but
when I it's interesting that you mentioned that, because when I watched it, if I was watching it looking and had that context to appreciate it in, I probably would have liked it a lot more. But one of my problems is in watching a lot of this stuff, I am 10% of my attention on it. Like, it's on. That's probably how I saw Galaxy Quest. Is like I might have fallen asleep in it.
Yeah.
Because I have these memories of especially Tim Allen in it.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
There's going to be parts of that I'm going to recognize.
Oh, I'm sure you saw
But-
it at some point.
yeah.
It probably was like on. I probably fell asleep with it, or I had it on while I was working and really not paying attention to that.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
I will definitely watch it again.
And then with the stores, with Order 66, I've been so incredibly blessed to meet people like Andrew and
Yeah.
Alan Fernandez and all just this group, and then it was like, okay, it's time for me to get out of the store business. So then it instantly went into just hanging out with the guys
Yes.
and, you know, having fun with it.
Tell them what you call it.
Oh. So Andrew insists that I write a book
Yes.
You should
called
write about it.
Celebrity Adjacent.
Celebrity Adjacent.
Yes.
Celebrity
That's
Adjacent is the
brilliant.
title.
Isn't that a great?
Well, we
yeah.
came up and
Yeah.
like you get to hang out with guys like Felix Silla.
Yeah.
So Felix was
Oh, what a wonderful guy.
you saw the Addams Family,
Uh-huh.
of course, the original.
The old TV series.
Felix was cousin It.
Really?
If Felix stood on this table, he's that tall. He's
No
like
kidding.
34
He was tiny.
inches tall,
Yeah.
something. Barely. He was the smallest American actor.
Yeah.
He was
And he
in
was
charge of
he was proportionately small.
Right, yeah.
So he was a stunt double for a lot of children in movies and things like that.
So- Oh,
Television
interesting.
shows.
homunculus. So perfectly proportioned small person.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if you ever met my buddy Donald Justice. You may have met him
Maybe.
at some point over at the store. So here's Don that's like 6'2". Here's me that's like maybe 5'10", 5'9". And then here's Felix. So we're taking Felix back to the airport. Lives in Vegas. Beautiful house in Vegas. We're taking him to the airport. Here's Don. So on the way to the airport, Felix goes, I want a burger. I want a hamburger. So Felix at this point's in his 80s. And he's just like this amazing, amazing old guy. Like with the greatest perspective on anyone that you could ever meet. And here comes Donald, who's 6'2". Here comes me, that's 5'9". And then here comes, and I'm calling him Grandpa. So, come on, Grandpa. And he's like, 3'6", 3'5".
Yeah.
And as we walk in, it's like all the waiters and waitresses are looking around, and like, who's that? So he started off, he was the original baby ape in Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
So the baby in '64, that's is it Caesar or I remember who was the lead in it. It was Roddy McDowall
yeah, Roddy McDowall. But in the first film,
in the first one.
oh, that would have been Cornelius was the
It was
character.
Cornelius.
Yeah.
So it was Cornelius's baby. Oh gosh, he was in E.T.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was he E.T.?
Close.
Yeah.
What happened was Drew Barrymore was only 7 when that was being filmed.
Yeah.
And they needed a night shot, and she was too young to be working at child
couldn't be-
labor
she couldn't
laws.
be doing that, yeah.
Child labor laws said she couldn't be on the street being filmed and stuff like this after 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
So who's the right height? Felix.
So they put the wig on him, and
So and then you
hey,
know
what
this,
Felix did on a Saturday night is nobody else's business.
but you
Does
know
he still have the wig? Did his wife find it in the closet one day and go, "Can you
know-
explain this?
Keep me and give that to Drew. Sorry, honey.
Do you have something to tell me?"
that was the lipstick and the high heels, but we don't talk about that stuff. Felix passed away a couple years ago,
Yeah.
and that was
It's
our
devastating.
buddy,
thing, yeah.
our buddy Mark Dodson. Dodson, who was Salacious Crumb,
Voice of Salacious Crumb.
and he was all of the Gremlins.
Yes.
Oh my
So-
gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was the voice of all the Gremlins.
That's your
Yeah.
next
my
guest.
I met him.
You can go ahead and make the announcement. That's your next guest for
Cool.
next month.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'll bring Mark out here.
That's awesome.
He's a voice actor. He's amazing.
Amazing voice actor. In fact,
Like-
yeah.
He is actually Samuel Clemens in Hannibal, Missouri. They have Mark Twain Day
Yeah.
every
Oh, wow.
year because that's where Mark Twain, or that's where Tom Sawyer was
Tom
from,
Sawyer,
was from
yeah.
Hannibal.
Yeah.
And he's invited out there. He does all the voices. He'll sit down and he'll do a town square where he just sits in a chair and he tells stories. He tells Mark Twain stories, Samuel Clemens stories. And
He's so good at it. Yeah.
but he was the voice of the Gremlins and and Star Wars related, of
Right.
course.
But you brought him up in relation to Felix. So what was?
Oh.
Yeah.
When Felix passed away, we were both there crying. He like called me.
Yeah.
And he's in tears. And I'm like, and he does the greatest Felix impression, which is like I don't. You have to suck down 2 or 3 balloons of helium.
Yes.
to
Yeah,
get
he had a high voice, you know.
to get your voice up that high. And he was a little bit older, and was never worried about using profanity. So you get Mark on there, and Mark just starts going off, and it's so hilarious.
Yeah.
He'll do it for you.
But
But we were both like on the phone for an hour.
Yeah.
Like just bawling.
Cousin It was my
yeah.
favorite.
He was also Tweaky in Buck Rogers.
Oh, he was.
Oh, really?
Yeah. With Dr.
Dr.
Philopoulos.
Yeah.
It was the chest plate that
Yeah.
he had.
But he was the
But it
little robot. You know?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And then Heritage got that. Or no, American History.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember his name, but his wife, who was also a little person, found that in like a closet, the original outfit,
What, the Twiggy?
the Tweaky from Buck Rogers in the 25th Century,
Wow.
and then that sold in auction.
Yeah.
Some of these guys, I don't think this is fun sitting here and talking to Andrew, but. And I can tell you, Andrew doesn't know how iconic he is. Like when you do Vader, oh my gosh, that's iconic as all get out.
I'm just a Sith Lord like any other Sith Lord.
With a dysfunctional family.
He takes his lightsaber off one piece at a time.
That's it. Helmet off.
I almost wanted to do that when I was on the Oprah Winfrey Show. You know how they would do bumpers for like the next Oprah show, and we were out there to do the Oprah Winfrey Show because it was they were promoting the special edition and being released, and they had a whole big thing there. So Oprah was interviewing Anthony Daniels, who was C-3PO, Peter Mayhew was there,
Chewbacca, of course.
Chewbacca, Mark Hamill was there being interviewed. No, Kenny wasn't there.
wasn't there?
So
They killed Kenny.
and then
Those bastards.
They did a
I lived
pre-recorded.
in South Park for the last 2 years.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, that's good. That's a good one.
Colorado.
No, and then they had a pre-recorded segment with Billy D. Williams, and then they had an interview with George via satellite. So because he couldn't be there in Chicago, and then they had a bunch of us as the costume characters. So I was there, and actually Grant Imahara was there as 3PO. He was in the 3PO costume that day, and we had the radio controlled R2 and stuff. We the interesting thing about this was that. You get to where was I going on that? You mentioned I'm completely lost. You throw me off with the South Park reference there. Yes, but because you had mentioned about I was going to say about how when you walked into that place with Don and Felix and everything, that when we're there in Chicago, we had one of the original Ewoks with us too, Margarita Fernandez, and her husband Doug Farrell, who's now in the Mandalorian and everything, and both little people, and so we all decided we were going to go out to dinner. So we're walking down the street, and it's the middle of like February in Chicago, but it was like walking down the street and.
And you had Peter.
And
with
so we
you?
had Peter with us too.
And he's
so
7'4",
it's like
7'3".
Oh, wow.
a bunch of us. It's like a bunch like this, and it looked like the circus came to town or something. And it's like we're literally stopping traffic as we're walking down the street. But I had another reason for bringing up the Oprah show, but I can't remember now. It was something you said, but
You get a car.
yeah, you're gonna. No, that was something else. It'll come to me.
It's-
About 3:00 in the morning, I'll wake up and I go, wait, turn the cameras back on. How you know?
We'll get it on the phone and record it.
Yes.
You're welcome to come back. We'll have you again.
All right. Okay.
It's really fun. Also, so again, we met about 12 years ago because of the proximity of the stores and your office, and it's really fun when I've got 3 granddaughters. Mm-hmm. So Jocelyn, Jamie, and Gemma, and the youngest one, Jamie.
Jamie.
The youngest one will never know anything unless different than their father and grandfather owning a toy store. It's like, how cool is that?
Yeah.
That your dad and grandpa.
Yeah, she's never known a world that didn't
Never,
have that. Yeah.
and she just walks in, and you know, she's tiny, and she walks in and she like just runs the show. It's like she walks in and she goes, "Hey, Mikey, yeah, grab me a drink, fix the back room for me."
So for those of you watching now, don't date his granddaughter.
Oh, none of them. They're-
Raul, I'll be in my trailer.
So where I was going with that was I've got a picture of Jamie when she's like 3 years old, standing with Felix, and Jamie's taller.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But that's
But
the wonderful thing about this is you get to meet all these kind of people that
Yeah.
that you never would have expected to.
The best line ever. So I'm introducing. This is I picked Felix up at the airport. I'm introducing him to the staff out at the store and all of our guys. And Jamie walks up to him and he goes, "Are you a little boy?" He's like 80 years old. Yeah. And he turns around to her and he goes, "Yes, I am." And he gets down on his knees on the floor and he plays dolls with my grandfather.
Wow.
Oh, yeah,
That's so
Nice.
sweet.
With my granddaughter. And
yeah.
I just love
What a
that.
great gesture.
But Nikki did the same thing. Nikki Botello.
Oh yes, Nikki's tiny too. She's
Nikki's. She was Tweak,
in the Ewok TV movie.
the Ewok adventure, the Ewok TV shows.
Yeah.
And was it just Tweak, or I thought she
She might have done one other character too.
maybe an Ewok or
Yeah.
something. But she, it's like they just get down on the floor and play with Jamie.
Yeah.
And it's like so special,
Yeah.
like so cool. So. So.
Yeah.
And there's your tears right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. There.
So,
You've done your Barbara Walters moment here where you get your guest to cry on camera.
Spritz.
Yes.
Any more tears?
Yeah.
C4.
Yeah.
And
So what are you doing now?
What I'm doing now, this is so interesting. So here I've been doing all this stuff, on camera as an actor and doing visual effects and everything. Now I'm producing audio dramas.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
You do an aquarium one.
That's true. That's a
Aquatic
side
scene.
thing too.
I actually watched a little bit of it.
I'm so sorry.
It's hilarious,
No,
right?
it's good.
With the talking
Well,
fish.
but I accidentally have a YouTube channel. I did not plan to have a YouTube channel. I really didn't. It's called Aquatasy, Aquatasy, like aquatic fantasy. Fish tanks have been my hobby since I was a kid. I'm just obsessed with fish tanks, and
Fish, not so much.
fish not so much. That's just the
Just the
tanks.
tanks.
I don't even put water in there.
Just empty fish tanks.
Maybe
huh?
that's why the fish don't last
Overhouse
long.
is
But yeah, but no, I love aquariums, love fish tank, fresh water because salt water is too expensive, and there's a lot more maintenance involved than I don't have the
yeah.
time. But I was online on an online forum trying to get some information about a fish species. And everybody on the forum's like, "Hey, let's all post videos of our tanks." I thought, all right, I'll join in. But me being me, visual effects artist, animator, all that stuff, I went totally overboard. I should have just got out the cell phone and shoot something. But no, I had to edit it
Fish
and add
had
titles.
lightsabers.
Yeah,
So you have actual fish in there.
yeah, I have actual fish in there.
But you CGI'd it?
No, I didn't CGI it. No, but I was editing the video and adding titles and music and graphics to it
Okay.
and everything. Everybody else is just getting out the cell phone and here's my tank, But I was looking for somewhere to host the video so I could show them where it was. And I thought, well, okay, YouTube seems easy, but you have to create a channel for yourself. So I thought, well, I better give the channel a name. Well, if I give the channel a name, I better get a URL for it just in case, and then it just snowballed from there. So I made the video, I uploaded it to YouTube on my new channel called Aquatasy, and I put the link on the forum, and everybody's like, "Dude, that's great, you should do another one." So I did another one, and now the channel has 15,000 subscribers,
Nice.
All
and
that.
1.5 million views, and it's like, for a fish tank channel. Well, it's Darth Vader's fish tank channel, but it's but yeah, so I've got sassy back talking fish that interrupt me while I'm making
You're Darth
videos.
Fishius.
Yeah. Yes.
So here's your chance to pitch your.
Oh yeah, but what I'm doing now. Oh, there we go.
There you
My
go.
company
Hey.
is called Adventurous Ideas.
All
Adventurous ideas,
great
yeah.
stories begin with adventurous ideas.
Yes. And he mentioned Mark Dodson. Mark Dodson is our voice of the company. You know how James Earl Jones did "This is CNN."
Yeah.
Well, Mark Dodson does our tagline. All
Nice.
great stories begin with adventurous ideas, and it's my company along with my buddy and partner Jerry Cornell. And
One of our guys, one of Josh's guys.
One of Josh's guys does
Bobby
voices
Robertson,
for us. Yeah.
does voices for
Yep.
him.
Nice.
And,
And-
of course, I've been offered a spot like.
Yeah.
I'll do
3,000
voices for you.
He's the third dead body from the left. But
That started.
that's
was
another
started.
joke. But
Dead body from the left.
The Hills Have Eyes 3.
yeah, he's the one that's
Yeah.
smiling.
I did the voice for the dead guy who doesn't say anything.
Right. Well, it's all started,
Give me the credit for that.
Yeah. We started.
One
I'll walk in. I'll literally.
one IMDb credit.
I'll
We'll get
walk
it
in.
for you.
I'll
We'll get
walk
it
into
for
the
you.
studio. I'll walk up to the mic, say nothing, and then walk
Yeah.
away. All right, we got it.
Yeah. Well, the running gag with my buddy Jerry Cornell is that at one point we needed somebody's hands clapping for one of the characters, and he couldn't find like a sound effect file for it, so he just recorded it. So it's like this, and so but he keeps making a big. Don't I get an IMDb credit for that? And it's like, so we started the whole thing as a COVID lockdown project.
Man who claps.
Man who claps, yes. Yes, hand clapping man. But it's a superhero. Yeah, it's a hand clapping man. But when we started the whole thing,
Different than man with clap.
You could call
Yes.
them. You could call them our things.
yes, our things, yes. We started everything as a COVID lockdown project because there was no production, there was no post-production, there was not even any conventions, and there's a whole bunch of us creative types sitting at home with nothing to do. So Jerry had come up with the concept for our first show called Heroes of Extinction. It's a 7-part superhero audio drama. It's a story of a guy named Gabriel Cohen, who's a superhero named True Strike. He's been a superhero since he was a teenager. It's the only job he's ever known. And he gets his powers from this alien collective that gives him his super strength, his super speed, and his ability to teleport. They also act like an intergalactic Siri or Alexa in his head, so he gets information when he's in the battlefield. But now Gabriel's turning 50, and his body's changing. It's not connecting with that alien technology like it used to, and his powers aren't reliable anymore, and the collective has told him, you must find and train your successor, someone
Cool.
who is young and pure of heart like you were. Well, someone, or a group of someones, who we don't know yet, are systematically taking out all the superheroes and the supervillains. He has to find out who's behind this. There's also been this plague of these mutant creatures, these half-human, half-animal, poisonous things unleashed upon the city that are killing people, and he can't stop them because his powers aren't what they used to be. And the love of his life, a scientist who may have been involved with the creation of these mutants, has been killed by one of them.
Oh wow.
So now he has to mourn her death. He has to band together with the remaining heroes and villains to stop these creatures. He's got to find out who's behind everything, and he still has to locate and train his successor. And we have this wonderful cast of actors that have been involved with Star Wars, Disney, Marvel, Pixar, even Super Mario. But we started, like I said, as a COVID lockdown project, and Jerry had the idea originally, and we've recruited a writer, a wonderful writer named Samantha Albin, and her writing partner, Jay Brezovar, and she, took the germ of an idea and just ran with it. And as the script started coming in, we thought, wow, this is really good. And then we started, casting it and putting, and the actors were all recording from home, all around the country. Some of us in California, some of us in Florida and other places. And as the tracks started coming in, we thought, this is really good. And we started editing it together. And then things opened up, and we went to a convention in California called MouseCon, which is an all Disney-centric thing. And we did a panel there. And we presented parts of this audio drama. It's like the modern twist of an old radio show. So it's full music and cast and sound effects and everything like that. So we started playing some of the clips, and the response was tremendous. We thought, we've got to do this for real. And so we formed the company last year, Adventurous Ideas. We have 2 projects that are in production right now. We have Heroes of Extinction, which is just finishing up. We're just recording the last few tracks that we need for that. And that'll be out in spring. And then we have another show called Dark Park, which is an anthology series about strange happenings in mysterious old theme parks.
Cool.
We have 2 others that are
Bill will love that one.
Yes. We have 2 others that are casting at the moment, just finishing up casting. One is called Extinguished Worlds, written by Patricia Gillam, and it is a superhero, supervillain, alien invasion time travel story.
Cool.
And it's it's a very cool one. Actually, Mark Dodson is in that one.
Of course.
He's also in Heroes of Extinction, but we also have Morgan Lofting, the voice of the Baroness from the G.I. Joe animated series. She's going to be in that. We've got Laura Faye Smith, Rosalina from the Super Mario games, and Samantha Kelly, who is Princess Peach. They're playing roles in that. We've got
Melanie. Melanie.
Yeah.
Who's the voice of Lucy.
Yeah,
From
yeah.
the original Peanuts.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, one of the Lucy voices there. We've got
Careful, she'll move the football on you.
Yeah.
We got John Morris.
Cost you a
who-
nickel
Yeah.
for the psychiatric
Yeah.
exam.
John Morris, who was Andy in the Toy Story
Oh, cool.
movies. Yeah,
Cool.
he's doing a role for us there. And the one that I'm really excited about is Michael Yurchek, who has done voices for Naruto and all kinds of different anime and things like that. And he's also in Heroes of Extinction as the villainous Fire
So,
Reaper.
Welker also?
Nope, we haven't talked to Welker, but we got some
Okay.
other people. But
There's
the
others,
interesting
yeah.
thing is we got that in casting right now. We have another one called Kaladin, which is a sword and sorcery fantasy tale, dragons and that sort of thing. That one's going to be huge. So those are casting. We've got 6 others audio dramas that are being written at the moment, and I kid you not, another 40 plus that are in active development.
Wow.
Oh,
So
wow.
we're very, very serious about this.
Awesome.
That is
Because
awesome.
nobody is doing this sort of thing in the United States to any great degree. You've got individual productions or individual podcasts of things, but nobody's doing this on a grand scale. If you go over to the UK, you've got Big Finish Audio that does all the Doctor Who audio dramas with the original cast members. They do Torchwood. They've got the license now to Dark Shadows and Space 1999, but nobody's doing it here, and all our stuff is original IP. But we've got wonderful bunch of actors. Can't name them all. I know he's got some on his lips there. We can wait till we sign the contracts. But the wonderful thing is that we don't even really recruit people. It's just that I'll go to these shows, or Jerry, we go to these shows and conventions and things, and people will say to me, "Oh, what are you working on?" Just like you just did a moment ago.
Right.
And I start telling them, they go, "Oh, I'd love to work on that."
And it's that
Yeah.
easy. Because
Yep.
it's celebrity to celebrity.
Yeah.
And then I get invited and
Yeah.
just as the celebrity adjacent.
Yes.
That's cool.
But the thing is, everybody loves doing audio because
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how you look.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter how you look. Because I've looked a fool in that recording booth.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. But you can be anything.
Yeah.
It just matters how you sound. And the nice thing is that there are some actors that maybe they're not getting the roles they used to get because maybe they're older now, and but they still sound great. They still sound young and everything. But we got wonderful people in these productions now, which is just so much fun.
So I'll give you a lead here.
Okay.
Was it your father's book or your grandfather?
Oh, it was
Or
my stepfather's.
Your stepfather's
Yeah.
book.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Bane of Lord Kaladin was a book. That,
Oh, right.
Yeah,
okay. So that tied into
yeah,
that.
yeah. It was my stepfather wrote this book, a novel, fantasy novel called The Bane of Lord Kaladin, back in the '80s, and so and it was an interesting thing because he should not have been able to get it published the way that he did. Usually, you have to go through the publishing company. You got to go through all this, the security and the secretaries and things like that. He met Lester Del Rey of Del Rey Publishing in an elevator. It was a literal elevator pitch. Pitched him the book. Lester said, "Yeah, it sounds great. Send it to me." And so he bypassed all of that, got the book published and everything, did pretty well, and went through 3 printings at least. And since then, I've been trying to get it made as a movie. And came close a couple of times. Actually, ILM was interested in producing it as an animated feature at one point. And then that was right when the Final Fantasy movie came out and tanked at the box office. This animated thing tanked at the box office. Tanked so badly it brought down 2 companies.
Oh, wow.
And then ILM thought, we're not going to get into that business right now, because they wanted to do what Pixar was doing at that point.
Yeah.
And so they handed me my script back, but it came so close so many times, and so now we're doing it as
Cool.
as audio. And the nice
Nice.
thing about audio is you don't have to build sets, you don't have to make costumes, anything like
Right.
that, and you can keep the budgets low, and it's just great. That
Are you going to set some to some kind of visual so that maybe you put it on YouTube and have some kind of just visual background with it, or
Well, what we're
some
doing,
kind of artistic
if
thing
people,
with it?
thank you, you've led me right into a
Hey.
wonderful plug.
You're welcome.
No,
Happy to
if-
do it. That's what we're here for.
If people go to youtube.com/ then the @ at Adventurous Ideas, they can go and they can listen to the whole first episode of Heroes of Extinction on there, absolutely free. The rest, like I said, it'll be available through iTunes, Spotify, Audible later in the spring. But we're always going to put the first episode up for free there. But we also have a podcast show up there on our channel called The Lowdown at the Down Low, because the Down Low is the bar that the superheroes hang out in when they're not being superheroes in Heroes of Extinction, because they have to have somewhere to go. And we have an interview series where Jason Braden, who's the host of it, he's one of our actors and one of our right-hand people there. He interviews a lot of the cast members and the writers and things like that. And so we're actually going to keep that going. So for all of our productions, so we'll have that going, but we'll always have something up there for people to listen to, so that because I wouldn't want to keep everything behind the paywall. I want to make sure that people get out there and hear this stuff, because it's fun. And the nice thing about audio is that it's portable. You can take it anywhere you want. You don't have to sit down in front of a screen to watch a 2-hour movie.
Most of what I do on YouTube is audio. I do much more in audio because I'll just have it on and have it playing. Or at night, I always am. Summer has to sleep quiet. I have to have something playing, or I can't I can't get to sleep. Yeah. And so I'll be wearing earphones and have YouTube on, and I'm never watching it, but I'm listening to it. I'll listen to comedy or audio. The podcast
right
like this.
It's great to see all of us here, but you can also just enjoy it by listening.
We're basically doing an audio show with letting you watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we're doing now.
And so
modern radio.
So that's why we're doing audio dramas, and it's like everybody's loves the idea, and so we're setting up. We decided we don't want to get into any kind of debt to do this. To build the company.
You're speaking my language.
Yeah, I mean that. What is it that Dave Ramsey says? Debt is dumb, cash is king, and they paid off home mortgage.
People.
Yeah.
Even Darth Vader listens to Dave Ramsey.
I have to. Oh yeah, absolutely. I have to listen to.
That
Dave
is
Ramsey.
how the Empire always finances with cash.
That's right. So we're crowdfunding each production. And,
they ran out of cash over that exhaust port or whatever it was.
We don't take
multiple Death Stars, all built purely with cash.
we don't take Republic credits though.
You walk in the back and there's a great. So Vader and the Emperor having their monthly budgeting meeting.
Yes.
And they walk in the back. Well, let's talk to the finance department. They walk in through, and Dave Ramsey sitting there with his hat on. His team.
Vader comes back after dealing with one of his admirals and goes, "I've just reduced our staff costs."
Darth Ramsey.
Darth Ramsey, yes. Good. Yeah. But so we're doing everything through crowdfunding and that too, and that the nice thing about that too, it's not just because we don't want to get in debt, but we know that there's a lot of people who say, "Hey, I want to be involved, but I'm not a voice actor, I'm not a writer or something like that." But that gives them a chance to be involved.
So here's a model that you could do as a way to kind of crowdsource. Why not just sell it before it's made?
That's an interesting thought. I mean,
because here's the next one that we want to do. We want to make this. However many that y'all buy, that's our budget to make this production.
That's kind of what the crowdfunding is. I mean, I like when Joel Hodgson brought back Mystery Science Theater 3000. He did it through Kickstarter, but it was basically he said, "Okay, we're going to do 3 episodes, but if you kick in more, we'll do more." And they did, and they brought it up to I think 13, and they raised. I mean. It was like $6 million or something, $6.5 million, which was, I think, at that time, the biggest crowdfunding thing that had ever been done on there. Rumor has it Jerry Seinfeld was the last million on that.
Oh, really?
Because Jerry and Joel have been
friends.
Friends for years doing stand-up and stuff. So, but
was there something we mentioned earlier about Seinfeld that I was like, wait?
Yes, yeah.
What was
it? Larry.
Yeah, last weekend I was hanging out with Larry Thomas, the soup Nazi from Seinfeld.
Oh, nice.
Wow. Yeah. We were at a convention together, and I've actually known Larry since,
Did you get some soup?
I think you forgot my bread.
Bread, $2 extra.
$2, but everyone in front of me got free bread.
You want bread?
Yes, please.
$3!
What?
No soup for you!
There was no soup for me.
Does everybody no soup for you?
Besides,
I got a good story
soup
about
ladles
this.
now.
Yeah, he signed soup ladles.
Nice.
Which is
So as his gimmick, he'll sign a photo for you.
Yeah.
But he gets these little plastic ladles.
Yes.
And he writes "No soup for you."
Yes.
And then signs it.
Yeah.
That's
It's a
super
great
cool.
gimmick.
Larry
Great
is
gimmick.
wonderful. Larry is an absolutely fantastic.
We need to get him on the podcast.
Yeah.
Help
Larry
me
is
get
an
him on the podcast.
I will help you.
Yeah.
That's
Larry is an absolutely fantastic actor, and I don't think people even know. I mean,
I've watched an interview with him. I know he's a really good
he's
actor.
Really good, and he's going to be doing voices for us for
Nice.
our
so
productions here.
That's a done deal.
Yeah, we
That's
have
easy.
a project called Rodella McPherson, which is a detective story. It's about a rich socialite woman in the 1930s who is a detective who is also psychic. So she will walk into a crime scene. She gets a vision of who the murderer was.
She knows
and now she's got to go backwards and figure out who it was.
Oh,
so
that's
Classic.
cool.
But
Nice.
Larry's going
That's
to be
great.
involved in that one.
I
So.
would
Look at
like
that from
to-
a lawyer's aspect, where you already know who the bad guy is or the
Yeah,
person that's at fault.
but you gotta prove
and then
it
you
or-
have to prove it backwards.
Yes.
With all the evidence.
Yeah,
working
legal
Or the
together.
other thing would be is if they have the wrong guy and you're the lawyer who represents the innocent guy.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
and you know that's
absolutely.
that would be a
That's-
Perry Mason type of
Yes.
thing.
Okay. There's okay.
That's the next episode.
Jerry, we have another one. We have another
So
number
yeah.
40, 48. I
Well,
think.
can I be the lawyer in that? That'd be great.
Sure.
I could add a special type of insight of
Well,
here's really what
we have actually done something like that. We had a character
Could
in
record your part right
Yes.
here. That'd
right
be
now.
easy.
We had a
I
character,
got mics.
Exactly. We had a character in Heroes of Extinction, Master Shen, who is runs the dojo that I said that the main character of True Strike, the superhero there, played by Peter Alden, is he is having to look for someone to replace him because his powers aren't what they used to be anymore. So
the force is not as strong.
the
with
force
him.
is not wrong with him anymore. So he has to go find someone else, and he finds this young woman in her early 20s named Janessa Jensen, who was played by Mary Gibbs, who back in the day when she was the voice of Boo in Monsters Incorporated. You know, Mike Wazowski. Because her father worked at Pixar.
She's a 20-year-old college student now.
Yes, and
And
that
she's just a super cute.
Yeah.
Still has a great
and an
great
amazing
voice.
She's
Bubbly.
like in real life she like spins fire on the beach and does crazy
Really?
stuff. Oh, she's
Wow.
she's amazing stuff. She is a superhero in real life, and so we cast her in this role. But there's a character in Heroes of Extinction. She's working out in a dojo and she's crushing it. We don't realize at that point that she's, maybe she has superpowers. Who knows? But she has a sensei who Master Shen is his name, and I thought, okay, wouldn't it be crazy if we just cast an actual sensei as the voice actor? And his name is Irvik Aquino, and he was one of my kids' senseis. My kids studied Shotokan karate, and I contacted Irvik, and I knew he had some back. He actually used to work for Lucasfilm 2 years ago, doing other stuff. But and so I said, hey, I'd like to come voice this character for us. And he nailed it. It was perfect because he had the background as a sensei for that to be real. But also he's always wanted to be an actor on the inside, and I knew that. I can sense that.
So there you go, Dana.
Yeah.
Casting
So
a lawyer.
I'll
as
cast
an
a lawyer as an
actual
actual
lawyer.
lawyer. Why
What
not?
a novel idea.
Where does it come from?
No, but that's the fun thing for Jerry Cornell and I when we're doing the casting is finding I hate auditioning myself. I was telling somebody I hate auditioning. I really hate auditioning. I always have. It's one of the things you have to do as an actor. You always have to do auditions, and 99% of the auditions you go to, you're not going to get. You're just not going to get them. You have to realize that. But it's a horrible process because it's like what it feels like to you from your perspective is, oh, we love you, you're fantastic, we've been waiting all our lives for you to walk through our door. Or it's, you suck, you have no talent, get out of here. Neither of those are real. Neither of those are real. It's like if you went to the store and you've got a shopping list because you're gonna cook something tonight. You got a recipe, and it's like, I need this, this, and that. I need for the ingredients. You go to the store, they don't have it. You go to the next store, right?
Right.
It's not like you go, this store is worthless unless you're Gordon Ramsay. What were you thinking? And there's no judgment call there. It's just, I need this to fill this opening, and that's what casting is like. But I hate the process of auditioning, so we don't make people audition. We do have them. We'll have it if they're somebody who really doesn't have a lot of credits or anything like that. We have them do sample recordings for us, but we don't consider it like an audition, like it's a make or break type thing, and we just kind of keep them in mind. It's like, okay, all right, well, let's hear what you can do. But for those who are already established, Jerry and I just go, okay, here's this character. Who do we know that sounds like that?
Yep.
And
I think
that's
it's a
how we
great
do
way to do it.
It is. It really is. And then sometimes we'll say to that person, like I did this with Dodson, I said, can you do a Russian accent? And it's like, duh. Yes.
He's got,
Duh.
Dodson has got quite possibly the best ear
Yeah.
of anyone you'll ever meet. Like he'll listen to you, and then he'll mimic you
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like in a minute.
He's so good.
So good.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Jeff, why did you bring Andrew out?
Yes.
What are we doing? A special event or something? Oh,
Yes.
absolutely we are. We're at, tonight. We're going to be at Order 66 Toys in Willow Bend Mall.
Yeah.
On the second floor across from Neiman Marcus.
Yeah.
This won't be produced by
Yes. That's right.
Not tonight as you're watching it
Yes.
today. This is pre-recorded.
Yes.
But we brought Andrew's one of our favorite people to bring out. He signs autographs. For
You know what we could do? We
for
could
the
actually
group.
we could go live and do at least just do a promo. We'll
we
do a
do-
live.
we'll
We'll
do
do a
live
promo
promo.
for that, and
That would be
we'll
outstanding.
do a promo for the actual episode that'll be airing.
So save
soon.
that. Save that.
Well, we can do it again now.
No, he's going to be out there tonight at 6 o'clock signing autographs.
Yep.
Through the store.
Yeah.
And then
And that
of course,
streams
the-
live over Facebook, which is really cool.
Sweet.
So, yeah.
And then the live sale that we do tonight.
Yeah.
It's Star Wars toys. I'm not sure which ones they are tonight.
Yeah.
But that goes live at 7 on YouTube, right?
No, on Facebook.
On Facebook.
Yep.
And then Saturday, we're going to be out at Solstice Assisted Living. That's over on Spring Creek. Or Lake Forest. Lake Forest?
Yeah.
Spring Creek.
What are you looking at me for? I'm the guy from California. I'm from Coruscant. I don't know.
So speaking of that, do you know what part of Texas that you're in right now?
Yes.
Lucas, Texas.
Yes, I know.
It's
The force
just-
is definitely strong.
The force
with this
is
part.
strong with us here.
But so we're going to. So my mother just went into assisted living. And because of that,
Does she have a will, Jeff?
yes, but we should update it.
I made a sale while sitting at the table. Constant entrepreneur.
High five.
Sell.
See, Vader
No,
gets
close.
Yes.
It's always closing.
Yes.
But
ABC, always be closing.
yeah. But I figured, what would be the best way to get grandchildren, families out to assisted living? Because a lot of these unfortunate older people that are in these assisted living haven't seen their children in months.
Yeah.
And it's so incredibly sad.
It's very sad.
So my idea was, what can we do? So I sat down with the director.
You know, you could just get actors for the Alzheimer's patients. It's the worst joke I've made on the podcast yet.
Yeah.
Sorry. We're trying to do a comedy show. You don't know what's not going to be. I knew it wasn't going to be funny. It's a little funny.
Hey, I did stand up for years. They don't all land.
Yeah, I
It's
know,
just-
right?
Yeah, some of them crash and burn, but yeah.
You don't know what's not going to be funny until after it's not.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, we've been canceled. Sorry, we're
You,
going to leave
but
now.
you have the luxury of being able to edit this out. So
Should I?
You know the Three
not
Stooges?
now. No, it's too late now.
You know the Three Stooges have been gone a long time.
No, you can't edit this one out. We're going to keep referencing
Yeah.
that. Okay. So,
I just lost my cat. I sold it and then I had to refund it right there. I'm not getting the casting.
yeah, but I think that's a great
But-
idea, though.
No, I.
But
That's
you
a
bring-
fantastic
but
idea.
you bring one of the actors out, a voice actor, someone that's going to. And what we're doing is we're taking the big blow up screen I used out at the store,
Yeah.
the rear projector. We're going to run the movie, and then have the actual actor from the movie out there.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Nice.
And so, like I said, next month I'm going to bring Mark Dodson out, and we're going to show either Gremlins or we're going to show Return of the Jedi. So I can be, we can.
An interesting thing for that is if you tell the people that are in the assisted living facilities, it could be a way for them to get their family
That's
members to
exactly
visit.
it.
Is that
That's
it?
exactly it.
I'm cluing in now.
Yeah.
You're still getting over your jaw crashing and
Tap
burning.
me on the head. I know, right? Tap me on the head.
You're still going.
Give me
"What
a
did I
cookie.
say?
Let me
What did
sit
I
in the
say?"
corner.
I think
My
that's,
dad used to go, "Are you new?"
Yes.
I think
I'm
that's
new.
fantastic
Yeah.
because
That's awesome.
the place where my
that's a
mom's
great
at,
idea.
And it brings
they-
people
no one
out.
comes. No
And
one
it's
comes.
so sad.
It's
Yeah.
very sad. I actually have had nurses like commending me.
Yeah.
You are always here. You come every
Yeah,
week.
see,
and
that's
they're
a-
like, that
Yeah.
never
That's a
happens.
beautiful
Summer did
thing.
that with her dad
That's a
before he
beautiful
passed.
thing. But if we could encourage other people to come out, people that we haven't met, there's we're going to meet Alice. So Alice is one of the young ladies that's out there in assisted living. She's a friend of my mother's. Next month, Alice turns 100 years old.
Wow.
Wow.
And
I can't wait to meet her.
and she's up and she's walking and she's got a little difficult hearing,
Right.
but she's absolutely amazing. And her daughter and husband, her daughter and her daughter's husband, are there with her also, and they're in their 80s.
Do you think she would be able to come and do the podcast and make that work? Or
100-year-old woman come out to see do your
I mean,
podcast?
because
I think we
how
would
cool
have
would it
to-
be to
It's not Mel
talk?
Brooks.
we
How
would-
cool would it be to talk to a 100-year-old
we
woman
would
about?
have to go to her.
Of course, she
Would we?
Yeah, you would have
probably
to.
go to her.
So-
Okay.
but, yeah.
Yeah, 100 years old.
But
I
with
wouldn't
that-
want to take that chance.
I don't
But she'd
know
go to
how.
you and say,
Yeah.
"Why are you talking to me now about a prenup? Where were you 80 years ago?" That's how you land a joke. That's how
That
you
is
land a joke.
exactly how you land a joke. Yeah.
But so the idea came up, and
Yeah.
get the kids out there, give the families, not that they should ever need a reason,
Right.
and you know that,
Right.
not that they should ever need a reason, but maybe they need a little kick in the rear
Well, I think
every
what
once
happens
in
a
a while.
lot is
Right.
that life just gets in the way,
Yeah.
and they're not. It's
Yeah.
not something that stays top of mind awareness. So the time can go by, and it just happens before you realize it. And so if you've got this kind of reminder or event, then it can be something that you can incorporate into your routines and your schedule. Because as an entrepreneur, most of everything that we do is you live and die by the schedule. You live and by routines. You live and die by habits, attitudes, mindset, like you mentioned, critical. And if you can create something like that,
Yeah.
That's
that is
That's
how
exactly it. People just
exactly.
they get so busy and they think, "Oh, I got to do this." They keep saying, "I got to do this. I got to do this," but they never get to it. And it's like for me, it's hard because my dad's in assisted living as well, and it's hard for me because he's like 2.5 hours away from me. But I Zoom with him, when I
old's
can't
your-
get up there.
How old's your dad?
My dad is 83.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
But-
still good age.
Oh yeah,
Still
and he's
good age.
and as he's says he's still got all his marbles, most of them, at least all that he had to begin with. And
What movie was that from?
I don't know. I can't remember.
There was right.
there's a vague
Yeah.
reference there. I can't pull it out
Yeah.
yet. though.
He's got a bag of marbles and he loses like a couple. And he goes, I've lost a couple of my marbles.
Yeah. Actually, my father is going to be pitching an idea for us for adventurous ideas. So he's got a story idea because he's come up with story ideas all
that's
over
cool.
time. So yeah,
That's very cool.
and then we'll assign it to a writer to write. But
Excellent. So how big is the company?
that's an interesting thing. It's basically right now you could say that because we're still going through the formation of it, basically in the groundwork there. So it's myself and my partner Jerry Cornell, but we're bringing in other people, and it's one of these things where it's like everybody has had so much faith in us. It's really humbling because nobody's getting paid yet for a lot of this stuff, but so many people are on board. But I think as far our core team is probably about, if you want to include the writers as well, I would say is probably about 15 or so people. But then we've got all these other actors, well-established actors from Star Wars, Star Trek, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, Doctor Who, Torchwood, James Bond, all kinds of things that have all said, "Yeah, we're in." So
That is awesome.
And it's fun. It's fun when you're a touring. We'll call it a touring celebrity, where they're doing all of the shows. They're doing
Conventions,
the
Comic-Cons and
conventions,
stuff.
creation. They're doing all these, and Andrew's been all over the world doing this circuit as Vader.
Yep.
So it gives him access because they're all on Celebrity Row and
Yeah.
they're all talking together and eating together, and you meet some really great people
yeah.
that you would not usually.
Proximity effect again.
Exactly.
There's
yeah.
your proximity effect.
It really is.
And then you wear the shirt or whatever. They say, "Oh, what is that?"
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, they're offering their time, like the
Yeah.
Baroness.
Yeah, that was
Like-
the fun one. I'm sitting
like-
at dinner. I was at Pensacon in Pensacola, Florida, which is this huge convention that they do every February there. and it's so huge that it's actually in a big sports stadium, and so there were a bunch of us that were all a bunch of the celebrity guests. I hate using that term, celebrity. I use it from its rawest term, which is to celebrate something, to celebrate what you do. But it's not like celebrity, like bring the car around. It's like no brown M&Ms in the dressing room kind of thing. But there were a bunch of us celebrity guests there having dinner one night. And the first night of the show, and I'm sitting next to Morgan Lofting, the voice of the Baroness from the G.I. Joe animated series. And she leans over to me and she says, "So what are you working on?" And I started telling her, and she goes, "Oh, I would love to do something like that." And I say, "I'd love to be cast in something like that." I didn't even have to pitch her anything. But then she says, I love this. She says to me, "But on one condition." I said, "Okay." She said, "Don't cast me as a sweet little old lady. Because I am not a sweet little old lady." She says, "They always want to cast me as Mrs. Claus, like Santa's wife." It's like, I'm not Mrs. Claus.
There's
I'm
your
the Baroness.
there's your sound bit for Daniel right there.
Yes.
For the Baroness from G.I. Joe.
Oh, yeah.
And he just added that. New
Daniel
G.I. Joe
is going
piece.
to gush and melt like a
Well,
6-year-old girl. He said that. He said that
Might be a
to me
work.
yesterday. I was like, I'm thinking to myself, because we
we
got to
only
make sure
have-
that
we
the
only
law
have 4
firm.
chairs,
no,
Daniel.
it's more that I got to make sure that we don't commit malpractice while I'm doing this podcast.
Well, yeah, true.
well, what's funny about Daniel is he actually can do all kinds of voices. I told
I
him.
did not know that. I've known him for 23 years. I didn't know he
Dana,
could do
you're
voices.
out.
So-
You're out, Dana. Let's bring Daniel in.
Yes.
So I will tell you, I have told him for years, you missed your calling.
Yeah.
He can do everything.
right.
I mean,
Only a
it's
lawyer.
not
Well,
funny.
I honestly believe that it's never too late.
I agree.
Yeah.
And he's hilarious.
My whole
too.
philosophy is I've done this
Hilarious.
lawyer thing. I got a 20-year window of this is great. We set it up. It supports and then it supports all the creative stuff. That's
Right.
why we started the podcast here.
Exactly.
And Daniel is the next in line to come and step up from that as we build this giant firm. And because do you know what our brand is?
Yeah.
I mentioned that the soft divorce brand.
Yeah.
Divorce doesn't have to be so hard.
Yeah.
And
Which I think is good, because I like the fact that you do that you have that focus on it, because there are some couples that just, I mean, the sin wasn't the divorce. The sin was that they
How
got
they
married in the
handled
first
it.
place.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe some cases, like
Yeah.
I'll say my own parents, and they're the ones that admit it. They were young and stupid when they got married. And
Hashtag happens.
Yeah, it happens exactly. And,
just
and
is.
so the sin wasn't that they got married. The sin, what that they got divorced. It was that they got married. In that point, at the way that they did, and so they did the whole run off to Reno kind of thing and not tell anybody, and then until they had to tell somebody.
There's Andrew.
Yeah, but and I love them both dearly, but they weren't meant to be married in the first place.
I'm a big
but,
fan
yeah.
of healthy marriages.
Yeah.
And you have to have a healthy marriage. And if
Yeah.
you have an unhealthy marriage, I'm in the business of ending unhealthy marriages. But I prefer to end them by making them into a healthy marriage. I own healthymarriage.com, which is a project that we're developing out. There's nothing on it yet, which is it's a shameful failure yet, but we're working on it.
It's
but
not a shameful failure.
it's-
It's something bookmarked for the future.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
See,
That's a great job.
how are you so good at mindset? Like we preach mindset. Where's our
That's
winning in mind?
yeah. Well,
Book.
Oh,
in
excellent.
fact, this is one we've got. This one may be. This is an autograph. I'm going to give you this as my gift.
Oh, thank you.
This one is. Hold on, maybe not this one. No.
Okay.
I want to make sure because this one's signed by both Lanny and his wife Helen. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
So I will give you either one of these. They're both
Oh,
the
thank
same.
you.
This
Oh,
is my
thank you
gift
so
to
much.
you, the Sith
cool.
Lord.
I will read this.
So Lanny and his wife Helen
Fantastic.
were on, and the reason why we had so here's Lanny's story. He was in 1972. He won the silver medal in Olympic shooting. When he was a little boy, he was not athletic. He was bad at everything, and he was in 6th grade. And the teacher said at the beginning of class, "One of you someday might win an Olympic gold medal." And a little boy stands up and goes, I don't know who will win, but I know who definitely won't. Lanny.
That's always the one.
Ouch.
That's
Right?
the one.
Yeah.
And it just crushed him. And and his mom took him to the library and he read all these library books about the Olympics and all this. And he was looking for a sport. And he came up with shooting. And a guy said, well, shooting is an Olympic sport. And he goes, really? And he goes, well, do you have to run fast? And he goes, nope. In fact, you actually have to be really still. He goes, well, I can be good at being still. And so he goes through his story, and it'll be in the book.
Yeah.
And he finally wins a silver medal, but he's always getting second. He was ranked the same as the number one guy, but and he gets the silver medal. And for him, he goes, the silver is like, I was the best loser. Oh, you know,
He had
because
really bad
nobody
mindset.
feels worse about it than the guy who got silver. You know, so he then starts interviewing all these, because he was an Olympian, and he calls up all the gold medal Olympians and leaves them messages, but they all called him back because he goes, look, I wanted to talk about what it is that, and I want to figure this out, what it makes it to where somebody can win a gold instead of going in silver. And it was all mindset. And he talks about those mindset things. And you're right on that page. I think a lot of your success, in addition to you're just great at proximity effect, but the reason why you're good at proximity effect is because of your mindset that even puts you in that proximity, and you haven't had any expectations. You've probably had hopes and dreams, but about it. But you have such a good attitude and a good mindset. I totally see why you've had all these blessings that come to you.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely blessings. It's definitely blessings. It's like people say to me all the time, "Oh, you're so lucky," and I said, "No, I'm not. I don't believe in luck. Luck isn't well." I don't believe in luck in sort of the broad term that most people use. I think luck is an acquired skill. You can learn to be lucky. It's just opportunity meeting preparedness.
Exactly.
And I would tell my students after I left Industrial Light and Magic, I was offered a full-time faculty position at the Academy of Art University in San Francisco, and I ran the visual effects department there for about 2.5 years. So I was overseeing the visual effects curriculum, and I was teaching a full slate of classes in various visual effects disciplines. But I was also teaching a class called Portfolio, which was basically how to get a job doing what we're teaching you how to do, which was a novel approach because a lot of art schools would just teach you how to make pretty pictures, and they'd say, "Okay, fly, be free," and then they'd all leave college and get hit by a bus called life, and they wouldn't know how to get work doing what we just taught them how to do. So we thought we got to do this differently. So, but I would tell my students that it really is a mindset. It's like it's not about being at the right place at the right time. It's being ready for any place to be the right place at any time.
Exactly.
And that just means you just get your stuff together, And from my students' case, I would say, have your demo reel, get your portfolio together, have business cards. I said, yeah, even in this day and age when everything's all digital, there's nothing like a piece of paper you can hand to somebody and say, here's my card.
Yep.
And do it. Have
your
work out there
have
where
your
people can see
picture
it.
on a business card.
Exactly.
Always have your picture on it.
Because people don't remember names, but they remember faces.
Right.
It's like I go to these conventions and I do all these signings, and I'm so fortunate to do this, but I do that a lot, and I'm all over the place. But people don't believe me when I say, "Oh, I remember you." I may have seen them a few years ago or something, and they'll come to me and say, "Oh, I don't know if you remember me." Yeah, I saw you at WonderCon in 2009. I signed this for you, and I go, "Oh my gosh, yeah," but don't ask me your name. It's like I'm happy if I get 75% of my own name some days. So it's like so. But
I once asked someone, "What's Greg's name?" The answer was Greg. I'm not good at names.
Yeah. But
even when I know him,
it is mindset, and
it is
and
mindset.
That's for anything. It's like it's mindset, it's attitude. My grandmother. Well, first of all, my grandmother, she lived to be 107 years old, and I think a lot of it was mindset. Yeah, some of it's good genes and things like that. But she kept herself young because she always thought young.
How old are you?
How old do you think I am?
Is a year younger.
I think I've looked it up, but you look like you're like in your 30s.
God bless you. I'm 60. I'll be 61 in June.
That's about how old I thought you were.
I'm looking forward to being
that
61 also, because
blew my
60,
mind.
people go, "Oh, you're 60. That's it's like, but 61, they go, "Oh, you look good." It's like, it's a weird thing.
I think it's the last number.
It's that last number. But it's a lot of it is mindset. It's like my mother-in-law, when I first met her, she was 51 years old, and she was already saying, "Oh, I'm a little old lady," and she turned it into a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
She turned old before her time. My grandmother, when she was in her 70s, she was still riding roller coasters. In her 80s, she's still getting down on. She's still out in the yard in her gardening. In her 90s, she was still getting on the floor and playing with our kids. Okay, so she always said, "Don't you dare call me a little old lady." It wasn't until she realized like when she was like maybe 97 or something like that, that if she was a little old lady, it got her to the front of the buffet line on the cruise ships. It's like, oh, I'm a little old lady. And I was like, but it's mindset.
Oh, Summer's going to use that.
Yeah. But it's mindset. It really is mindset, and I'm sure you see that in your practice. People come in, and it's like you
90% of what I do actually as a lawyer, is fix people's mindset.
Yeah,
that's solidly 90% of what I do, and with our branding and focusing on what's healthy. Because if you have an unhealthy marriage, the ideal way is to make it a healthy marriage.
Right.
But if we can't, then we need to get you as healthy of a divorce as possible.
Right.
The reward for marrying you and it not working out should not be destruction of that person.
Right.
Right.
It should be, I wish you the absolute best. We're going to go our separate ways, and we're both going to be great moving forward. We're both going to be good, healthy co-parents.
Yeah. And for the record, my parents are friends, so that's good.
Excellent.
And but
excellent.
But but it's that mindset thing, and so that's why I always think young. And I got this from my grandfather also, the one that was married to my grandmother that lived to be 107. Is that and he lived to be up? I think he was like 96 when he passed. But he told me a story one time that he was talking to his best friend who was like 15 years younger than him, basically. And they were standing around talking, and talking about, and his friends talking about the aches and the pains and that kind of thing. And finally, my grandfather's just looking at him, kind of like this, kind of laughing, chuckling. And his friend said to him, "Well, don't you ever worry about getting old? And or don't you ever worry about
what
aging
good is that going to do you?
And dying and things like that?" He says, "No, I'm not an old man like."
What.
He says, "No, I'm not an old man like you are."
People that focus on age. I don't even think about how old
I legit think I can make it to 140 at this point in my life.
I wouldn't put it past you.
That's my mindset.
Yeah.
I feel, because I don't even like talking about how old I am, because I feel like I'm in my very early 20s or late teens.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you've also started to take charge of that.
Well, I don't drink.
I don't either.
Never
I eat
drank.
healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I drink
I'm trying.
only water. I don't drink any. I drink either carbonated water or regular water.
I did that for 2 years, and I felt really healthy about it.
It's a great thing to do. Well, actually,
I do mostly water.
I do drink milk. I've incorporated milk back in. I just don't.
Especially when we get to the bottom of the cereal bowl and it's all nice and sweet.
Man, it's not cereal with me. It's grits, actually.
Oh, I love grits.
I eat fruits, vegetables, nuts, meat, and fish.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I guess
heard
mushrooms
you had a burrito.
Well, yeah,
it's okay. It was a keto burrito.
But
it was a
Which
beef
surprised
burrito.
me because
but
he
it's
is
in-
like no carb, no carb.
Okay. Yeah.
no, I eat some carb. Now that my weight's down and I'm exercising a lot now. So the first
Then it
stage
balances
was
out,
the first
yeah.
stage was I was taking the weight off, but I was almost afraid to exercise because it was from a back injury from inflammation, and I thought it was a physical injury, but it's not. It was from diet.
Oh wow.
And my chiropractor, who I go to regularly just to keep me in good shape, he was like, "This is not physical with you." And he saw an MRI, all the stuff, and it was inflammation based, and it's inflammation causing your spine to pinch a nerve.
How interesting.
And so I eliminated and just went to real eating clean, and I haven't felt this good since I was 16.
Well, I eat kosher. I mean, not like rabbinically kosher with like the ceremonial cleansing and things like that. But okay, here's the clean foods, here's the unclean foods, and I used to have terrible problems with pain in my knees. In my 30s, I had problems with pain in my knees. I stopped eating, pork and shellfish and things like that. All went away like that. And even now, my knees only hurt because I've injured them, but not because of just wear and tear. And it's and so
That's great because at 6'5",
yeah,
exactly.
I've got friends
issues
who are
about
like
knees.
7'3" and stuff like that. And his
Peter
knees
had
are like Peter
Mayhew,
terrible.
yeah.
Yes.
Hip.
Yeah.
I think he had his hips done twice and
Yeah.
knees done.
Well, I almost want to talk him into doing the knees because my mother-in-law had her knees done. My grandfather had his knees done, and I told him, look, you're going to feel so much better. It took a lot because a big guy, they had put a lot of anesthesia in him, but apparently it was still in his system for like about a month, I think. But but he did feel better after that.
Does George have any medical problems?
From what I understand, I think George is a diabetic. So
George Lucas?
George Lucas, yeah.
He,
I think so.
you see these videos of him, and when he was making the original Star Wars movies, he's really thin, and he just put on a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Is he still carrying all that weight with him?
I think so. Yeah.
especially
hard.
if you got
I don't know.
diabetes. You know, diabetes can really well be managed with
Yes.
diet.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah, I mean it can even be reversed. There's a what is it, the blood sugar solution. Is a really good plan that a lot of people use.
I haven't
Yeah.
heard about that.
Yeah.
You've probably read about that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things, but a lot of people's problems is inflammation. They don't
Yeah.
even know it.
Yeah,
It starts from your stomach and
yeah,
causes
Diet is
many
so
problems.
important.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's also one of the more difficult things.
yeah. You gotta
'Cause-
gotta watch what you eat.
Because the problem was is
even
that-
if you're a Sarlacc, don't eat a Mandalorian.
Don't eat a couple Rancors. Or
Yeah, exactly.
whatever.
Yeah,
if you're a Rancor, never try to eat a Jedi.
yeah, that's right.
Just-
Yes,
It's not going to play out
there's
right.
a bad taste in your mouth. Yes. See, we can bring it all roads lead to Star Wars.
Well, exactly right.
Yeah. But so no, I got a Star Wars legal or a Lucasfilm legal story for you. This is
Okay.
a funny one for you.
All right.
So this is back when I was working in customer support in LucasArts, and we would have to know the games back and forth, backwards and forwards, because we would answer the hint line as well. So we'd have to help people with hints.
They
on some
had
of
a
the
hint
games.
line.
They had a hint line, especially for the adventure games like the Monkey Island games and things like that. And so the head.
So how do you know to call the hint line?
It was it was two different lines. It was in the back of the manual.
Oh.
It said,
Okay.
if you need help. And if I remember correctly, the hint line was like a 976 number. So Lucas made a little money off of it or something like that. But I remember the guy's name. His name was Bob Roden. He was a attorney there for LucasArts, specifically for the game company. And he comes down to us and he says, can you guys have like access to all the different, you can go right to certain spots in the games, right? And he said, yeah, we've got all save game spots, so we can go to certain things for the hint line and everything. And he goes, can you show me the scene, the monkey wrench scene from Monkey Island 2? There's a spot in the game, one of the puzzles is that you have to take an actual monkey and use it as a wrench. It's the monkey wrench. And we thought, well, why does he want to see
Very
this?
clever.
And it's like, no, this is a legal thing. I go, okay.
A legal thing.
Yeah. So he's looking at it here. It's like the main character, Guybrush Threepwood, the young guy that wants to become a pirate. He's using a monkey as a monkey wrench. He says, can you show me that shot? Can you show me the animation there? Yeah, okay. So we show it to him. He goes, okay, I see now. And I said, so I had to ask, what, Bob? What's going on? He said, well, there was a woman who was threatening to sue us because she said it was pornographic and that her son had seen this. And I said, what? He says, she said it looked like Guybrush was behind the monkey doing something he shouldn't. But it was kind of like he's using the monkey like this, but he's but yeah. So from that point on, it was referred to as the monkey love scene.
Wow.
Oh my.
Yeah,
That you can cut if you want.
you can cut that if you want that
No,
one.
that's
but
the best part out.
Stays.
So radio dramas, right?
Yes.
I stumbled across, because I think I searched specifically out for it, because I remembered from my childhood hearing the Star Wars radio dramas.
yes.
And
In
I
the
have
80s.
so they have the ones from the original 3 films.
Yeah.
And I've listened to that. That's one of the things for about a month I was just putting those on, and it would help me fall asleep at night. Thoughts about, is there any hope under the sun if you get really good at this that you could get some kind of licensing deal and do some more of those? Because I really, really, really would love to listen to hundreds and hundreds of those.
That's an interesting thought, and I'm surprised actually that Disney's not doing that. That they're not doing some a bunch of audio dramas of Star Wars. I mean, there's certainly, I think there's some audio books and that sort of thing, but it's usually just like a narrator reading something. That's an interesting thought. I think right now we have so many original ideas that we're really literally up to like 47, 48 different story ideas that are being worked on right now, and we catalog them all and everything like that, because with Jerry and I, we both said this. We have an idea machine in our heads that we can't turn off. It just won't shut off.
I get that.
And it's one of those things where you lay down at night and your head hits the pillow and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go to sleep now. And your brain goes, wait, no, wait, I got something here. Here, try this. What if we did this? And no, shut up. Just let me go to sleep. And it's just, it's constant. We're always coming up with ideas.
That's my world.
Yeah.
That's my world.
Yeah. So fortunately, we end up running into a bunch of different writers and things like that, and we're saying, hey, here, write this for us. But that would be fun. I mean, I'd love to do a Star Wars thing, but I think.
Have you also considered
Turning
was actually into printed book material too?
Funny you should mention that. Yeah, one of the things that we do with our writers, and we're very adamant about this, is that if we've come up with the story idea, if Jerry and I have created this story, and we bring it to a writer to write, and the writer writes it, we say, okay, we own the audio version of it, we own the characters, we own the intellectual property, but you take your script, you go write a novelization off of it, you get 100% of the proceeds of that. That's yours, in addition to what we're paying them as writers. It's like, and so for Extinguished Worlds, which, like I said, it's not even recorded yet. We've got the scripts. We're casting it. We're just finishing up casting. Patricia Gillam, who wrote that for us, and she's a wonderful novelist and everything. She's already written and published the novel for that. It's called Extinguished Worlds. What's the tagline on it? But it's already out there. You can get it off of Amazon and everything.
Perfect.
And it's doing well.
We'll put the link in the description.
Yeah, I'll give you the link, and that's what we're doing with each of them. So Heroes of Extinction will be novelized as well, and actually it'll be a series of little novellas as well, as we follow some of the backstories of the other characters. But that's the thing. It's like we want adventurous ideas to be as much a blessing for us as it is, and much for everybody else too. Yep. So it's always about. I mean, we look at it all as family. We're all family as far as our team.
Everybody
and everything
does well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So everybody, Rising Tide.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That whole thing is
never let anybody drown. In the Rising Tide.
Never.
Everybody rises.
Yeah, and so we're doing that with our actors, with our writers, with our sound engineers, everything. And trying to make sure that it's something that's blessing. And also, we're taking part of the proceeds and giving it to charity too. So,
nice.
So that's because we just wouldn't feel right if we didn't, So that's how we do things. But yeah, there's already a novelization out for one of them. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Another thing that we're doing for for Solstice, for the Assisted Living, I took you said charity.
Yeah.
So. One of the things I'm doing for Andrew's charity is I've got an Italian version, original Empire Strikes Back poster, like one in the Heaven store, all framed up and everything. So we're going to be raffling that.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So just $10 raffle tickets.
Count me in. I'll buy a ticket for that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was going to say it would look right up, look good up on the
wall. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So. Oh, you should come by. You should come
I think
by.
I do have I have some Star Wars stuff on the wall over there somewhere, I think.
Yeah.
Oh.
It might have moved around.
Yeah. But you're raffling that off for the charity.
Yeah.
So,
Oh hell, we need to get him to sign that Star Wars thing. That's
well, actually, we've got some photos and stuff out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'll bring him in.
Thank you very
much.
much.
Andrew would love to.
Sure.
Love to sign a couple for you and for Daniel. And,
Oh yeah.
If you don't bring something signed home for Daniel,
he's gonna like cry and scream and wet himself and just be a mess.
I don't
know. I'm just guessing.
I don't know which one of I can't represent either one of you. I'd have to mediate the divorce, and Daniel would probably quit working for the friend. It would destroy all of our lives.
But yeah, so I raise money for the Starlight Children's Foundation. I've been raising money for them for since 2005, since my very first convention appearance, because I said, I would turn down doing convention appearances for a long time, and I said, well, first of all, I said, well, who wants to see me? I said, no, you've got all these wonderful stories nobody's heard. And I said, okay, I'll do it if I can do it for charity. And I was in New York. We were doing the David Letterman show. Lucasfilm had sent us out to do the David Letterman show. And Letterman used to have a shtick called the top 10 list.
Oh, yeah.
And which never really meant anything, but it was something silly.
Yeah.
So we were promoting the release of Revenge of the Sith. And so we had 10 Star Wars characters out on the Letterman show to do the top 10 lists, and it was top 10 lines you will never hear in a Star Wars movie. So each character comes out and delivers one of these ridiculous lines.
I've got a good feeling about this.
Yeah,
It ends well.
Yeah.
It ends well.
Yeah. So Vader was the number one answer, which was, I once used the Force to open a jar of elastic pickles. Because that's the Vader humor. So we'd done a run through at the Ed Sullivan Theater where Letterman used to do his show, and we're walking back to the hotel. It's me and Matthew Woods, voice of General Grievous, and Oscar-winning sound engineer and everything, sound designer. And so we're walking back to the hotel, and again, this is 2005, and it's like 3 weeks before Revenge of the Sith comes out in theaters. We pass by a movie theater, and there's already people camped out in line waiting for the movie, most of them in costume.
To see Matthew's movie.
Yeah. And it's like, oh my gosh. So Matt and I walk up to them and go, what are you guys doing? We didn't tell them who we were. We were like, what are you guys doing? And they explained that they were doing a stand-in-line-a-thon, and it was for Starlight Children's Foundation. Back then, I think it was called Starbright Children's Foundation.
Wow.
They shortened the name of that. And as they started telling me about the foundation, I said, that's it. That's my charity. And I've been raising money for them ever since. They partner with hospitals and clinics all around the country, now up in Canada and other countries too, to make sure that kids have some kind of childhood as they're going through whatever they're going through medically. Because if you're always focused on, I've got to go to this therapy, I got to go to this treatment, I got to go to this surgery, you don't heal up the same way. They also do these they do a lot to support the rest of the family too, especially siblings that kind of get lost in the shuffle when all the eyes are on the sick
great.
child. And it came full circle because I was out. Jeff had a store in Colorado that I was at and doing a signing, and this mother came up with her two children who are now much older, older teens, and introduced herself and said, my daughter went through like years of cancer treatment, and now thankfully she's in remission, full remission. But the only thing that kept us going was Star Wars and Starlight Children's Foundation and what they did for us. And so I'm just so happy that you support them. And
that is awesome.
It's like
we've been doing that
Amazing.
every event.
Yeah.
If there's ever a celebrity that wants to raise money for something, that's our first.
Yeah.
Nice.
Our first go-to.
I held it together until they left the store, and then I cried like a baby. I was just, because it's like, that's what you do it for. It's like, it's fun. It's fun being a Sith Lord. It's fun making visual effects. It's fun designing games. It's fun doing audio dramas and things like that, and all the other stuff that I do. I mean, I've been a performer all my life. It's fun, sure. It's also hard work, but it's fun. But when you realize it means something to somebody, that you've done something that touches people's lives, whether it's through your charitable donations or whether it's through the work that you do, it's very, very humbling, and it's very, very satisfying, and that's why I do it, and that's why I teach, that's why I lecture, that's why I do all this sort of thing. So
it's fun.
That's why I even have the fish tank channel, because I'm teaching people how to keep their fish alive, that sort of thing.
You made me want to go get a fish tank.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
I actually was
right.
very intrigued. He was putting one together for your son. The one
Yeah.
that
Oh,
was
that one. Oh, you
leaking.
saw that one.
I
Yeah,
watched
yeah,
that
yeah.
one.
You have really done your research
Yeah.
for this
Yes.
for the podcast today.
Yeah, I have.
I am very impressed.
I rescaped. Oh, yeah. There was. So which one did you see? The one where I rescaped his tank, or the one where we drove all the way up to Sacramento to
No,
go
I
get
watched
the tank?
the one where his old one was
Oh, yes.
leaking, and you got him a new one.
Yeah, that one. Oh, yeah. That's the one. That's a good one. Yeah, but
How
yeah.
you brought in all the Brazilian plants and stuff like that.
Yeah. We that was. Yeah,
It was very interesting.
I didn't,
Well, the
I
thing
didn't
is
think I was going to
about
be
that-
watching a channel about fish, but I am now going to watch,
You're gonna watch
this
the channel. It is your destiny. But and the thing
I know
is-
it to be true.
And I'll throw out a real quick tip for anybody who's interested in getting a fish tank. This is what I always tell people: is get the largest tank that you can possibly afford, both as far as funding is concerned and space in your home. And people say, "Oh, that's crazy. That's a lot of maintenance." No, it is much harder to take care of a small tank than it is a large tank, because a larger tank, you are coming closer to approximating an actual environment, and it starts to take care of itself. A little tank gets fouled up so much faster. The worst thing possible is either a goldfish bowl or one of those little betta bowls that they put little bettas in. It is absolutely a death trap, because the water gets so fouled. And one of the reasons I have that channel is because most people don't know how to take care of fish, and the pet stores don't tell you how, because they want you to come back after your fish dies and buy another one.
He might have been able to take good care of the galaxy. Maybe this whole Star Wars thing went wrong. Vader was really actually good at
See?
this.
I think
I'm misunderstood. I'm just a completely misunderstood Sith Lord.
He really was trying to do the right thing.
I think Leia was the problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
She was. She was kind of a teenage girl, like very contemptible,
Yeah.
wasn't she?
and then all this stuff with Han and
So, have you met the main actors? And I mean, did you ever meet Carrie Fisher?
Yeah, I met Carrie. Did a couple of different appearances with her and stuff like that. She was hilarious. She was fantastic.
what's
bet.
Met her
gonna be my
mother
next
too.
question?
Met
Debbie.
Debbie Reynolds.
Yeah.
Peter Mayhew and I did a convention with her one time. Wow, she was amazing. She was fun too.
there's you know what Debbie ended up buying towards the end of her life?
Nope.
One of the most amazing things I've ever seen. She actually owned the ruby slippers.
Oh,
Yes,
oh, wow.
Right?
Wizard
You
of Oz.
remember that, right?
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Yeah, she bought the ruby slippers.
What did
And
that?
it's like-
What did that set her back?
I don't know.
$3 million.
$3 million. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Wow. Yeah. No, I've been very
remember that
fortunate. I've
now.
met a lot of them. I've never met Harrison
You
Ford.
probably read it, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never met Harrison Ford, but I have. But Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Peter Mayhew was a dear friend of mine. Kenny Baker, who was R2D2, Jeremy Bullock, who was one of the Boba Fett's and everything, and then. Wonderful thing about doing all these conventions and hanging out with this clown here is that I get to meet a lot of others too.
I'm a little bit jealous. I used to be the one hanging out with him.
You skipped out on.
Well, you
So
need to
when
turn to the
Dallas
dark
would do-
side and come on over.
I know, right?
Dallas would do the Dallas Comic Con, and I worked at the Omni at
Yeah.
the
Oh, where they
Bob's
put it-
there.
Oh, sure,
I
yeah.
ran that Bob Steak and Chop House, so I've met
Yeah.
Peter
Yeah.
and CP3O
C-3PO,
Andrew.
Anthony Daniels. Yeah.
Anthony
Yeah.
Daniels.
Yeah, I've done a lot of
Yeah.
work with Anthony too. One of the interesting ones was I did a commercial one time. Gosh, I've got 1,000 stories. But one of the commercials I did one time was for before it was AT&T. It was Singular Wireless, and it was for Star Wars ringtones. And Peter was basically the star of the thing. It was
right.
the Chewbacca ringtone. So Chewbacca's in the recording booth, and there's like a director say, "All right, let's hit it one more time." And you hear the Chewbacca go, does the sound. It was got the headphones on. And so he goes, "All right, that's good. Now that was good. Now do it like you're sad." And it's like. It's the same every time. All right, now do it like you're happy.
Commercial.
It's like, yeah,
That was a great commercial.
it's like, all right, I love it. Now make me hate it. And it's like, and it's over and over again. Well, then Vader and 3PO and a bunch of others are in the lobby. After it's at the tag of the commercial, it's like we're out standing in the lobby, like waiting our turn. It's like, what's taking so long, kind of thing. And Vader's sitting there flicking his lightsaber on and off like that. But we shot this at the Culver City Studios in Culver City, the classic Hollywood studios. Parts of Gone with the Wind were shot there, and other things. It's like, and I'm on this historic soundstage. So I get there. Peter's been there all day, and he's haggard. He's just he's sweating and everything. It's like, I go, "Hi, Peter." And he's like, "Oh. Hello." he's a mess, but and Don Bees was there too because he was helping dress us. He and his wife Anna, and so Don says to me, "Yeah, okay, why don't you go start getting suited up? Your trailer's right around the corner." And I'm thinking, "Yeah, right, sure." And he said, "No, your trailer's right around the
have
corner."
your own trailer.
And I have my own trailer on the Culver City Studios lot. And it's like I'm looking at these trailers, like
it's like
Peter,
crazy.
Andrew, Anthony. And it's like,
Wow.
yeah.
That's pretty much the pantheon right there, right?
Yeah.
Like the
But yeah, it was so weird. But it's there's tons of stories like that. There's the like time I almost caught on fire, time I almost fell off a platform, and
Wait.
Yes.
Okay. So I was going to, as you went on after time I almost caught on fire. That's what I was stopping you for. And then you went on to time I fell off the platform, and now I'm stopping you for both. You're not getting. Yes.
Okay, all right,
We're about
all
to
right.
have those two stories and more.
Yes. This will be a 12-part thing here. We were shooting a commercial for Kenner Toys. I'll do the fire one first. We were shooting a commercial for Kenner Toys, and in the commercial, this kid is playing with his Star Wars action figures on the floor, and he hears a sound behind him, and he turns and he sees lasers cutting through his closet doors, and the doors fall to the floor, and the room fills with light, and in come two stormtroopers and Darth Vader. Darth Vader's standing there looking all impressive, and the kid's like, "Whoa!" Exaggerated commercial acting. Whoa! It's like, and so we're shooting this. at a studio in Connecticut, and it's winter, and we're shooting this thing, and they have the breakaway door, and we're standing behind the breakaway door, the two stormtroopers and myself. And this is back before we had LED lighting and everything. It's all classic studio lighting, so it's hot.
Yep.
And
you're in the Vader suit.
And I'm in the Vader suit, and then they want to flood that room with light as we come in. So and I'm at the back because I'm behind the two stormtroopers, and even through the thick fiberglass helmet, I could feel the heat. And I'm going, man, that is hot. And then all of a sudden, somebody goes,
No.
"Do you smell smoke?"
Oh, God.
And it was a cape. It was that wool cape. And they're like, kill the lights, kill the lights. They grab it off me really quick, and they run outside into the cold winter air, wave it around and everything. A few seconds more, and I would have burst into flames. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So here's Andrew
So
in the most iconic outfit of probably all time.
catching on fire.
Yes, catching on fire now. I don't know if they were worried about me, but it was probably the original.
I think it
costume.
was the suit.
Yeah. Well, the other time, the falling off the platform, this was when we were shooting stuff for the special edition. So one of the shots in the special edition, there's a scene where Vader leaves Cloud City in Empire Strikes Back and goes to a shuttle, which had never been in there before. He was just like at one point, he's on Cloud City, and then suddenly he's on his shuttle, and suddenly he's on his Star Destroyer, and so.
So you did the one. Prepare my Star Destroyer for my arrival.
That's part of what we shot. So, stuff we shot for the special edition is all peppered throughout everything, but that's the one I always point people to because it's the easy one to find.
By the way, I thought that the Empire Strikes Back was the best of the special editions.
Yes, it gained the most.
Obviously, I was a little angered about the one scene in the cantina.
Yes, and
Han
I've done shows
shot
with. Yes,
first.
yes. I've done shows with Paul Blake, who was one of the actors that played Greedo, and he wears a T-shirt that says "Han shot first." And it's like,
I was there.
I
I don't know. So
I agree on that.
And then
too.
what the only problem I had with Return of the Jedi was why'd they change the song?
Yeah, they didn't have to change that.
That song was
Stick with
great.
the Yub Yub song.
Yeah, the Yub Yub.
Yeah, stick
and
with
then
that.
and then at the end, the end, but also the one at
Oh.
Jabba's palace.
Yeah.
Which I guess they wanted to have the.
They wanted to have the dancers and all that.
Was Empire where they brought Femi in?
No, that was the Return of the Jedi.
That was Jedi.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just think that it kind of killed the pacing.
Yeah.
Of
But
the
I
scene
like the
and
fact that they
and
brought
anxiety.
Femi back in and added all that additional stuff, and she's amazing. She looks amazing still.
Wait, which one? Which one is she?
Femi Taylor.
the
She's
Green
Ula.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Ula.
yeah, I
This
really
woman
like.
doesn't age. She's just. I swear this woman doesn't age.
Her husband Klaus
Yes.
is an attorney.
Yes.
Oh, really?
He's, from Denmark,
They are such a
cool.
such a cute
And
couple.
they're-
They're so nice. I love them both.
and she was a professional dancer.
So
Yeah,
let's bring them both on the show.
Yeah, she
'Cause we
danced
love
in-
having couples. We
We're
should
gonna
have
have
some
to fly
cats.
him from Denmark.
Yeah, she was in Cats on the West End in London. She was in
We'll have
Cats.
to-
Cats?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
We'll have to wait till
Yeah.
they're making an appearance in the States.
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll be in. I'll be with them in New York in June, I think it is. I like New York in June. How about you? So, but going back to
pipes on him.
yeah, going back to falling off the platform is we were shooting this one. There's that one shot where there's this big, beautiful matte painting done by Ralph McQuarrie and Vader and the stormtroopers and the Imperial officers are walking towards his shuttle there, and we shot this on a platform not much larger actually. It was less as wide as these tables right here.
It's not a big platform when you can't
it's-
see
yeah,
and
and very, very long and up about maybe I'd say 7 feet off the ground or so.
Holy fuck.
Yikes.
And so we had to rehearse it several times with, as we say, buckets off, with the heads off, several times because when you're in the costume, you can't look down. If you look down, you'd have to sort of not just tilt your head, you have to tilt your whole body 'cause it just doesn't bend that way, the Vader costume.
Yeah.
And I'm out in front. So, and I have to walk at a nice pace because the cape has to flow and everything like that. So Vader takes big strides, big steps there.
Yep.
So we had to rehearse it several times to make sure you didn't go too far left, too far right, or too far to the end, to make sure that don't fall off. So we rehearsed it several times. Then we shot it several times. And the last take, they said, "Cut, don't move." And I was about maybe 6 inches from the end of the platform. I got all the way to the end there.
Wow.
One more step, and I would have hit the deck. I don't
my
know if they
goodness.
were worried about me or the original costume. I'd like to think it was me, but but the very expensive original
I would
costume.
think it's both.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but Yeah, it gets.
So
it
when you
gets
do
really
these,
dicey.
do you have a backup costume in case something happens? Or?
There are multiple costumes. Yeah, I mean there were multiple costumes that were made for the films.
Yeah.
And then there were costumes at a certain point. I was originally started wearing the original costumes. You know, that was when I first started out. For like the first 2 years or so, I was wearing the original costumes.
And then they realize, this is worth a whole lot of money. We should probably
Yes.
make another
Yeah.
one, and then
Yeah.
that one will also be worth a lot of money. And
Don Bees and his wife Anna, they made 18 replicas that all fit me. They were all based on my measurements and everything. And
Was she a seamstress? Or?
yeah,
Okay.
costume designer and seamstress. They actually worked on one of the LucasArts games with us, Jedi Knight, which was the follow-up to Dark Forces. It had a half hour of full motion video in it, and and so it was like making a feature film. I was working on the effects with that, and so myself and a guy named Mike Levine, we sort of divided up the effects and. We had 300 effect shots in that half hour of full motion video in the game, but Don and Anna made all the costumes and props for that. And
he's like
he's so
the
talented.
most non-confrontational, just even keeled sweetheart of a guy.
Yeah, this is Don. Hey,
So-
how you doing? Yeah. That's me.
That's the perfect imitation. So bring this back around. When we purchased Rebel Scum, 3 million hits a month, 3 million, rebelscum.com, we bought it from Philip Wise. So from the Wizard, he's like the boss of, he's the one that built the Ark.
Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah, he's the one.
Wow.
He's the one.
they did a really good job on that.
He's
Yeah.
the one that did everything for Tron.
Oh wow!
And his
The original Tron or the
Yes.
remake?
the original
Wow.
Tron.
Original.
Wow.
I mean, his storage building has got stuff that will. It's like the back room where they're rolling the.
Yeah,
Ark in.
exactly.
It's insane. So because of Philip, Philip is on the original R2 Builders Group. So he was one of the
Those are the
consultants.
fans that build build their own R2s and they keep it.
Yeah.
So he was one of the
Oh, I've seen
consultants.
some that
Yeah.
are just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Well, with Don Bees being kind of the main archivist for all the R2 units,
Yeah.
when he heard that we were bringing Don out, he goes, Jeff, he said, would you mind bringing Don out? I haven't seen him in years.
Yeah.
And that was like two evil geniuses. It was
like mad
it was
scientists
like
getting
mad
together.
scientists, like pulling the curtains, and Don's looking. So they take this R2 unit off. So this R2's like maybe 100K, and Don just walks in and he goes, I see what you did wrong here. He takes the head off. He goes, this is supposed to have the belt this way and this.
It was like two auto mechanics kind of
Wow.
working
But
over
the
a
two
classic
of them-
car. You know?
The two of them are over the top of this R2, and I'm like, I'm so out of my league here. And the two guys are just back and forth, and I just stepped off the side, sat down.
I probably would have pulled out my phone and started video.
Wow,
But that's
would-
the thing, and it's like, and
It's-
you know, Jeff and I will tell these stories, and it's never one of these things where it's like, you know, hey, well, I got to do this and I got to do that. It's all about
It's
like
just sharing the experience.
Yeah. It's like, okay, when you talk to your friend and say, hey, did you see that TV show last night?
Yeah.
Oh, you missed it. Oh, let me tell you what happened.
Yeah.
Or what did
Exactly.
you see the game? And it's like, you know,
Exactly.
that's what it's like, and it's
Yeah.
like you get all these stories, and that's why I love sharing them and everything. And again, it comes back to the mindset, because if you didn't have the right mindset, none of this
Oh
would
yeah.
happen.
Right. Well, it comes across that way
Yeah.
too for us
Yeah.
as getting to listen to the
And you
story.
also, also, if you don't stay humble, this stuff
Absolutely.
happens. Because if you
Right.
don't
Yeah.
humble
Oh,
yourself,
yeah.
you will be
Absolutely.
humbled. Life will humble you.
Absolutely.
And I had a moment like that just as Vader, because we did this thing called the Star Wars Licensing Summit, where they would get all the licensees, all the different people that make Star Wars licensed products. They'd bring them up to Skywalker Ranch. And there's a wonderful screening room at Skywalker Ranch called the Stag Theater. It's got this 1930s Art Deco kind of feel to it and everything. And it's perfect acoustics in this. I mean, absolutely perfect acoustics. It's amazing.
It's on Lucas property.
It's on Lucas property, yes. And it's, all the THX. It's the best of the THX sound system and everything. So we did this.
It's THXXX.
Yes, exactly. So we did this thing, and we opened it with at one point there's a little sketch. What we did was we had They had flashing lights and sirens go off, and then the room filled with stormtroopers, each guarding an exit, and then and you hear Vader's theme playing, and so at the end of the theme, the flourish, I'd come in and I'd get up on the stage in front of everybody, and James Earl Jones had recorded a special track for us for this thing. He was just about to hop on a plane, but he'd been in a studio recording something else, and they called him and they said, "Yeah, okay." Did it in one take, and then went to wherever he needed to go to shoot whatever movie he was doing. So I had that to pantomime to on the stage. And so we had done that, and it was a very, very funny little bit that we were doing. And then I'm introducing Howard Rothman, who was the head of licensing at that point. And so we'd done it once for the licensees. Then we did it again for another group. And then finally we were doing it for a bunch of the head honchos from 20th Century Fox. And don't get the big head. Don't ever think, that I got this down. It doesn't matter what, And we'd done it 3 times or so, and I was thinking, oh yeah, I got this. We can do this in our sleep now. And it's like, I get out there on stage, and the helmet comes loose. The way that
Yikes.
that the costume is, the Vader mask is open in back. And then you've got Velcro. The Velcro's across the back, and then there's like a raised round platform, little dish on the top of the mask, and there is a corresponding cup on the inside that it goes into, and it Velcros to the forehead, but it didn't get stuck in place right. So I'm up there on stage and I'm pantomiming this, and I can't stop because it's a pre-recorded track, and the helmet's wobbling all over the place.
Yikes.
I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So we had a wonderful woman that was a costumer from ILM that had come up and tried as discreetly as possible put the helmet back into place. Twice she had to come up, and I'm just dying. And then afterwards, I get off the stage, and apparently Howard Rothman had said, "Well, from this point forward, we'll make sure that all our presenters have their heads on straight." And I'm off. I'm backstage now, and I'm just thinking, oh, that's it. I'm never going to work in this business again. I'll never be
Did they
Vader
think it was
again.
your fault?
No, I'm thinking it's my fault. It wasn't my fault. It's just something that happened.
Yeah.
But I keep thinking, I got the little ego going there. Hey, look at us. We're doing great. We can do this. No, you can't do that. You just can't do that.
That's another plug for that book right there.
Another plug for this book right here. Yes.
Can you imagine?
All about mindset.
The audience, and they're sitting there and go, "Oh my God, James Earl Jones is here."
Yeah.
The mask falls off.
Yeah.
Oh.
Who's the white boy?
It's Anakin. Yeah. He's back.
Yeah. But actually, what some of the people in the audience, nobody really caught on, but some of the people in the audience said and thought to themselves, "What's that lady whispering to Lord Vader?" Because she was coming up and trying to fix the.
Oh, nice.
But from that point on, Don Bees just razzed me about that. We'd be doing something somewhere, and he'd grab the Vader helmet, he'd put it on his head, and he'd like put it down in his face, and he'd start doing the lines I was doing up on the stage. Like, shut up. So, but
It's time to bring Don back out.
yeah. Yeah,
You want to come back out with Don?
Sure, glad to.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
And the two of you would work.
Get Don and me, and then it's like it'd be me and my handler, my wrangler, and it's like
That would be a
the guy
good
that
show.
held my leash for years. Yeah, but it's an adventure.
Oh, no doubt.
But life is an adventure. You have to be open
Absolutely.
to life being an adventure, and it's like as many good stories as I have to tell about the movie business and everything like that. You've got just as many to tell about your craft,
Of course.
and anybody else has just that many. If you're open to that, if you remember that, if you focus on that and you don't focus on the negative stuff all the time. But also, there's the perception that everybody thinks that you work in show business, that's so glamorous. Sometimes. I've walked the red carpet. I've been a presenter on award shows and things like that. But there are also like the hours and hours of
Other times
mind-numbing
it's
tedium.
I guess got set on fire and I fell off a platform and my
But there's
face.
there's also the
helmet fell
moments
off.
of just absolute tedium. Where you're spending just hours and hours and hours. I mean, or sometimes the work you do such great work and then it gets cut from a project. I worked on a shot on Attack of the Clones, an effect shot that I spent 2 months working on, and then George cut it from the movie. Yeah, I used to explain it to my students when I was teaching the Academy of Art. I said, here's a phrase you're going to hear all throughout the semester. And then George changed his mind. Because he could. But
Right.
you know, but you can't get upset about that.
The true emperor.
Yes, the true emperor.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
but no, George is a nice guy. But you can't get upset about that. You just have to realize, okay, that's fine. I got paid. Nobody asked for the money back. You know, it's,
Right.
true.
That's
you
true.
know, so, but that's the way it is.
Now back to Howard the Duck.
Now back to Howard the Duck. Yeah, that was actually my first brush with George. Yeah, I was like I said, I was
Did
just
you get to hang out with Leah Thompson?
yeah, and actually even more with Holly Robinson, who is now Holly Robinson Pete. Yeah, I got a story about that. It was
she was
she was part of the band. She was
right.
part of Cherry Bomb. Yeah, yeah,
I
that was-
remember that.
yes. But I was just an extra, just a background, basically, kind of.
He's the tallest one in the
Yeah,
group.
but I was
of the
part.
rockers
But I
at the
ended up
end.
being, but I'm on set there, and I knew that George was executive producer, but I did not expect to see him on set. And we shot at the Warfield Theater in San Francisco, right off of Market Street, and I look up and it's like, oh my gosh, that's George Lucas. And he's like this, a couple feet away from me. It's like, wow, that's just surreal to see that. Thomas Dolby was there too because he had written the music for the film, and but he was there doing press. He was up in the balcony doing press. But yeah, so I was standing around talking with Leah Thompson and Holly Robinson. And Holly Robinson, I remember she and the actresses that were part of the band, they were upset because they already knew that their stuff was getting cut from the movie. A lot of their stuff that they had shot. And I said to her, don't worry. I think there's something good coming right around the corner for you. And of course, right after that, she got 21 Jump Street.
Nice.
Are you familiar with
so
Thomas
cool.
Dolby?
Blinded me with science.
Blinded me with
Oh.
science.
Yes. Yeah, but he wrote but he wrote the theme, Howard the Duck. Woo! We heard that song over and over and over.
I still hear it in my dreams.
See, that's the thing
It
people
haunts
don't
me to the day.
people don't know about making movies is that there's a lot of hurry up and wait, and there's a lot of standing around, and there's a lot of okay, let's do it one more time. Everybody back to one, and we're gonna go back to your first position, and we're gonna do it again and do it again. When I worked on the movie The Doors, we're doing it like one of the
Oh, you were on The Doors.
Yeah, my wife and I both were on that, and we're doing the outdoor concerts. One of the outdoor concert scenes. Oh my gosh, shot all night doing that in the drizzling rain, and it was just miserable.
Yeah.
And but that's why they pay you the medium dollars.
Was that when Morrison was doing the line?
Run with me, with the bonfire and the whole bit. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah. But
Did you get to meet Val?
No, but came face to face with Oliver Stone because he was directing it. But people got upset on that project because it was they were literally paying us peanuts. There was no craft services. They basically had here's a cup of bouillon, an apple, and a handful of peanuts, and it's like, oh gosh. And people were ready to leave. And they had us all base camp. When you do a film or anything like that, base camp is where they have everybody gather. Usually they'll have like wardrobe and makeup and everything like that there too, in a bunch of portable wagons. They have to have a spot where you can park your car, and then they'll take you and they'll shuttle you to wherever the location is. If you're doing location work, if it's studio, it's different, but this is location stuff. And so the base camp was like miles away, and they had brought us all up to this reservoir in San Mateo County in near the San Francisco Bay Area, the Water Temple they call it, and so we could not leave. But people were just really upset, and they were like, "I'm out of here. I want to leave." And I walked past. I was trying to find my cup of bouillon and my peanuts and my apple and everything. I walked past Oliver Stone, and I'm considerably taller than him, and I wasn't really happy at that moment. And he looked at me, and I swear he had this. And I thought, Oliver Stone, he's a tough guy. He can handle it. He looked at me like, "Don't hit me," and it's like. I'm not, and I laughed afterwards after I passed by him, but we made eye contact for a moment, and I was like, and I'm just thinking, oh, you're the director, and I'm thinking, but he's looking at me like, don't hit me, and it's like I wouldn't have hit him, but I laughed afterwards, but yeah, but it's those are the adventures that happen, But you should always be nice to the director though. That's always a good thing. I was doing a commercial one time for
Reminds me of being nice to a judge.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, you got it. You don't want to be held in contempt of court. Yeah,
We were
You don't want them to be mad at you before you go in.
during the trial. The jury's out of the room, and other lawyers will come in and do quick stuff.
Yeah.
and there was this young man who was trying to not get his bond revoked. And it turned out that he decided to use some choice language with that started with F.
Oh dear.
Directed to his bondsman who was there to try and get this, and to the judge and to the officer who was then took him to go back to jail. Yeah. Don't curse out a judge.
No.
You would think that that's going to court 101.
Yeah.
Don't curse out a judge.
Don't curse out your bondsman.
That's like
He got his kid
Right.
out of jail.
Yeah, he's the one funding you.
Well, that's like I'll see attorneys who are about to win a case and talk themselves into losing it, and the judge is trying to tell them, no,
Yeah.
stop, don't say
Yeah.
anything else. You
Yeah.
know?
Or there are some times where an attorney will get frustrated because the judge is overruling all of their objections.
Yeah.
If that happens and they've been sustaining these, but they're overruling, that's a communication that the judge is telling you, shut up, you've already won.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
Even
we're just
I as a
trying to
layman
get
know that.
Yeah,
It's like-
we're trying to get this done. And there's so many attorneys
Yeah.
that I've seen that they don't pick up
Yeah.
on that.
But but same thing. You don't argue with the director, and you should
No.
always, be aware of the. I was doing a commercial for Taco Bell. It was a huge Star Wars commercial during the Super Bowl in '97.
Yokiro.
Yes. And the whole thing is, it was the Feel the Force contest they had, and what it was is if you got the meal deal that they had at Taco Bell, and it came
Was
with
this
a
in
drink.
like the late 90s? I think.
Yeah,
yeah,
late 90s.
I remember that.
And you peel this thing off the drink, you put it to your forehead, and it'll tell you what you want. It was heat sensitive, so
Oh, right.
so it's on your cold drink, so you don't know what it is, But then
Yeah.
you put it on your forehead, and it warms up, and it tells you whether you won a prize or something like that. And the top prize was a Hummer, one of the original Hummers,
Right, H1s, yeah.
yeah, and it was black Hummer. And had Vader on the front of it, and it was a photo of me as Vader. So we're doing this commercial. It's a huge thing. They shot. It wasn't even in a soundstage. It used to be. Well, it was a soundstage then, but it used to be an airplane hangar in Santa Monica, California, in Southern California. There, just a huge place, and we had it filled with all these extras. And the whole idea was it's supposed to be a movie premiere on some other planet. And so here's 3PO and R2 and Chewbacca and waving to everybody, and all the fans are going, hey, at the premiere, and they're walking the red carpet, and then come Vader and some stormtroopers and stuff like that. So it was a 3-day shoot. We get there, and this shows you the madness of just anything in like filmmaking and everything like that.
The Star Wars trilogy is back on the big screen, and each planet is celebrating in a different way. On Earth, people are playing Feel the Force at Taco Bell. Press the game piece to magically reveal if you've instantly won cash, one of millions of prizes, or a special edition Hummer. See the trilogy, Feel the Force. Play the game at Taco Bell.
Are you sure this is the right theater? I'm not even sure it's the right planet.
So 3-day shoot. Our call time was like 6:30 in the morning. So we get there at the studio, 6:30 in the morning. They immediately, there's a bunch of PAs coming up to me, production assistants coming up to me and saying, okay, get ready, start getting suited up because we're going to get to you right away. We're going to get to you right away. Okay, all right. So I start getting in the Vader costume. And
Can you do it by yourself, or do you?
No, you have to.
Yeah,
I
okay.
absolutely have to have help because I can't get all of it on. I can get parts of it on, but not the whole thing. So I'm getting suited up, and my wife was with me too, and our daughter was just a baby at that point. She was only just about 6 months old or so, and so we got pictures of her like hanging out with Chewie and the stormtroopers, and she doesn't remember any of this because she was 6 years old, or 6 months old. But so I kept saying, get ready, and then it's like, okay, all right, that's lunch. Okay, what happened to me getting ready? Okay, no, it's lunchtime. So, but be ready right after lunch because we're gonna get right to you. Okay, so get ready. I'm hearing this.
This
all
is what
day.
happens to us in court.
Yeah, exactly. It's
exactly what happens
I know
in
that
court.
happens to you guys. And so the whole first day, and then it's like, okay, that's a wrap. So come back the next day.
You wore the thing all day long and didn't
half suited up the whole first day. Never got to me. Second day, hearing the same thing. We're gonna get to you right away. Okay, that's lunch. Finally, they didn't get to me till like 2:00 in the afternoon from a 6:30 call time. So I'm shooting all day and everything like that. And then the last day, they needed one shot of Vader's boot, his foot coming down. And thanks to Lucasfilm, they said that my Lucasfilm rep said, no, you can't just have the boot. You need to have Andrew's foot in it. But the third day, I didn't even touch the costume. They never even got to me, never even got to that shot. But I got paid for all 3 days. But the second day, while we're shooting, I'm on set, and they wanted to have Vader and the stormtroopers walk down a staircase, which is hard enough to do in those masks and things like that. There is a trick to doing it. You kind of use your heel to kick the back of the steps, you know where it is, and stuff like that. But then they had dry ice coming down from above and a steam tray with steam coming up from below. The minute we hit that steam tray, we're all fogged over. You can't see a thing.
Oh,
so it wasn't safe. So they had to shoot it in little increments. So it's like dun dun dun. It's like half a step, and then okay, stop. Take the masks off, wipe it off, change the camera angle. We finish, walk another step and a half, do it again till we get to the.
Would it take hours to do that?
Yeah. And while we're doing all this, and it was a German director, and he. I'm just sort of talking. I'm talking to the stormtroopers and everything like that, and then the director says to me, "You, what is your name?" And I was like, "Andrew." He goes, "Good. Now, what is my name?" And I didn't know the director's name, and I'm like, and
you're the emperor.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking. And I didn't know his name, and I froze for a moment. And I'm thinking, okay, I thought I was the big bad here on the set, and it's like, no, it's this guy. And he goes, "Always learn the director's name." And from that point on, I learned the name of everybody on the set.
Yep.
Yeah. And I imagine in court, if you watch in the court and you didn't know anything about the judge.
Oh, I have to have the list of everybody's names in there. And one of my biggest paranoias is that I'll forget a name.
Oh, yeah.
And when I was rehearsing, I did 5 hours for 15 minutes worth of closing argument, 5 hours worth of prep.
Wow.
And in that, it was, here is exactly where, because remember I once asked someone what Greg's name was. The answer was Greg.
Yeah.
Even if I know that I know it, I always have this paranoia.
Yeah.
So I always make sure I know exactly where I could quickly look and see if I need that name. And there was one of the witnesses that I had to mention. I had to mention by name. I knew I had to.
Yeah.
And there was, it was just.
How far in
I get
advance
that
do you know who is going to be the judge for a case that you're
immediately?
working on?
Well,
I mean,
usually immediately.
I mean, before
when the case
before it goes to before you go to court.
So you file the case originally that starts a case, and it's assigned to a court, and then you know who the judge is in that court.
Yeah.
Now the judge might be out on any particular day,
Right.
And you could get a visiting judge, or they could send you to another court, but you can file an objection if you don't want that to happen. So that way you know it's this judge.
So it's not like you show up to court and it's like, let's see who our guest judge is today.
Yeah.
And in walks whoever, and it's like,
yeah, no, we know whether it's Bob or Drew Carey.
Yes.
Bob Barker or Drew Carey are going to host the show.
I was on that show.
Were you?
I was on the Price is Right.
When were you on The Price is Right?
1996.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
As Vader or as
you?
No,
as myself. It was for my birthday. My wife got tickets for us to go to.
And you got called?
Yeah.
Okay. What happened there?
A story that I completely regret.
Was it Bob Barker back then still?
Bob Barker, yes.
Did you
Bob
tell him
Barker.
you were Vader?
Nope. No, nothing like that. But so my wife
Did you not use the Force?
No, I didn't. And then my wife doesn't let me forget this, and rightly so. I'll tell you the story. So I'm.
It's a Star Wars question you missed.
Yes, we go down. Yes.
Oh, no.
What do you bid on this TIE fighter? This TIE fighter can be yours if the price is right. No. So we go down to LA for the taping, and because my wife got the tickets, sent for the mail for it, because you see at the end of the show, say, if you like tickets to the show, send an envelope. What you don't notice in the fine print, and you'll know this as an attorney, you always have to read the fine print, is that it says a ticket is not a guarantee that you're going to get in.
Yeah,
so we get down there, and they said, sorry, no, we don't have any more seats. And it's like, what? No, we came all the way from San Francisco to come, to be here. They said, no. So my wife said, no, we're sticking around. We're staying here. Okay. We're going to wait and see. Maybe something will open up. Well, eventually something did open up. We got the last 2 seats in there. They actually, I know how many seats are in that theater. There's 316 because they interview every single person.
They interview all 316
all
people?
316 people, because they want to make sure that when you get on, if you get on the show, if you get called up,
that you can
They're
function.
likable.
That you're
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard
It's
that.
television. I mean,
Yeah, it is TV.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's nothing shady about that. They just want to make
Yeah,
sure
no,
that you're interesting. So so it was my birthday. I'm a tall guy. I'm funny, and I got all this stuff like that. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to be a hit. If they call me, I'm going to be a hit. So I was number 316, and I was the last person called. I was up there to be up in contestants row, and I just became overwhelmed by it. It's just like, oh my gosh. And I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm going to be the interesting guy because I'm tall. It's my birthday. I'm up there with a guy who's taller than me. There's another person who it's their birthday too. There's somebody else who's funnier than me. It's like, but I'm up there, and they do the whole thing. Bob. They show you the item, and it's like, what do you bid? And I panicked. And I didn't do what I should have done, which was I should have turned around to my wife and said, "What do I bid, honey?" Because she knew I'm up there thinking street price, and she knows it's suggested retail value.
Right.
And so so I never made it out of contestants row because of that. If I had turned around to my wife, and I'll say this now, I'm still sorry, honey. I'm really sorry. I should have listened to her. But I got some lovely parting gifts, as they said.
It's not too late.
I know. I got some lovely parting gifts.
What were the parting gifts?
Oh gosh, we got things like cleaning products, and it was a phone, and not cell phones back earlier than that, and a lamp, and all kinds of different things. And then they ran. It was like $500 worth of stuff, and of course you do have to pay taxes on that.
Yeah.
But they reran the episode later on, and then they changed the products. Contestants not appearing on stage will receive these items, and they changed all the gifts. So to keep it legit, suddenly a whole package of like another $500 worth of stuff shows up at the house.
Well, that's cool.
That we didn't have to pay taxes on.
Really?
That's really
Apparently,
cool.
no. So, but yeah.
Interesting.
Unless there's still some kind of outstanding, the IRS is going to come knocking.
No, I think you're out of the statute of limitations for that one.
Yeah. But so I got like $1,000 for being an idiot. $1,000 worth of stuff. Yeah. So,
well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
I've always wanted to go on the process.
Yes.
Right. Always.
Yep.
Even with Drew Carey on it? You like Drew Carey or Bob Barker?
Bob Barker was amazingly lifelike in person. You would have
Really?
sworn he was real. I mean, it was no.
I like Bob Barker.
I was just struck by it. Like, oh my gosh, he looks good. He looks so good. It's not just the makeup.
He always looked
Yeah, he
good.
did look good. Yeah.
He's
So-
still alive.
Oh, I know.
Oh, he's in his 90s,
There's hope
right?
that
He's
that there will
close
be
to
another
100.
Happy Gilmore and that he'll be on it.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
so that's
Yeah.
he was amazing.
God, that was the. I became
was one of the best scenes
such a
in the whole
huge Bob
thing.
Barker fan at that point.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's-
Everybody loves Bob
That's still
Barker.
my favorite Sandler movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
without
that's
question.
That's really
Yeah.
a great one.
And
I
then
never even
maybe-
saw the one I'm in.
Which one are you
I'm
in?
Which one are you in?
Funny People. My wife and I were in Funny People.
Oh.
Is that a real movie?
Yeah, it's a really good movie.
I think
Really?
we got cut out of most of it, but yeah. And that's another one of those where it was a lot of hurry up and wait. We just sat around all day, waiting to shoot, and
You're in there with your wife, though.
we were in separate scenes. We were in separate
Okay,
days
I have
too.
to see that.
Yeah.
I'll
No,
watch
you
it.
can't find us. I bet you can't find us. I haven't even seen it, but I bet you
I
can't
found
find
you
us.
in Howard the Duck.
Yes, you did. But okay. Yeah. that was
it
like
took me
Where's
3
Waldo. That
days.
was a good one. I'm amazed you found me in that. So that was a real Where's Waldo moment.
So
Yeah.
so as you meet more people and then you go back and you watch these films, you start going, "Hey, that's my friend that I know."
Oh
You know?
yeah, I do. I do that.
I didn't know you were in that.
Yeah, I got a buddy, David Dragon, and it's like we met doing a film together, and it's like we look for each other in films and stuff like that. It's like oh, I saw you in Ant-Man. Okay, so it's like huh?
That's not the captain's son.
No.
is it? That's not Daryl's son.
No, it's not Daryl.
Okay.
No.
So out of all the people that you met, have you ever gotten starstruck or?
Yes.
Okay.
Once.
Who was
Usually
it?
not.
Who was it?
Believe it or not, it was jazz musician Grover Washington Jr.
Really?
Yes. Lucasfilm sent me out to Boston to do Evening at Pops with John Williams and the Boston Pops Orchestra.
I was going to ask you if you
I
met
would've-
John
I would have
Williams
thought
too.
it was John.
Well, I was struck by both of them.
Yeah,
Basically,
so that would've
day.
been-
But and John Williams was amazing, very nice, very sweet, humble guy.
Yes, he is.
And you're in the conversation with him. You're chatting with him. And I met him before we started doing the taping and everything, and he's 100% with you in that conversation.
Yep.
But at the same time, you look into his eyes. Eyes are the window of the soul, and it's like you can see the wheels spinning. He's composing something right
yeah.
now. Something's going on
Constantly.
in his head. He was just so incredible to talk to.
The Lawyer Dana Podcast.